Are you feeling stuck in your life? Do you want to handle stress better? Are you looking for more peace and less chaos? Do you wish to improve your relationships? Are you ready for a real change? I have some good news for you. You have clicked on the right video. This guide is designed to help you transform these desires into reality. This guide offers simple, practical steps based on Stoic wisdom that can lead you to a calmer, more fulfilling life. Whether you're new to Stoicism or seeking to deepen your practice, this guide will equip you with the tools to effectively manage your emotions and actions, helping you create a more resilient and joyful self for the year ahead. Get ready to become a new person. Let's start. See what happens when you focus on yourself. Have you ever thought about what's really stopping you from reaching your fullest goals? Pause and think. Most of the time, we are the ones who stop us from reaching our goals. Interesting, right? Hello, and welcome to a special movie that will change not only how you deal with problems, but also how you see yourself every morning. You've come to the right place if you want to find the key to unlocking your full potential and riding out life's storms with unwavering confidence. It could be easier and more powerful than you think to find the answer. Through the tenets of Stoicism, focus on yourself. Let's go on a trip to learn more about ourselves and grow as people. This will change how we interact with others and the world around us. Are you ready to find out the ancient secrets that can help you overcome problems and seize golden chances? Stay with me and let's go on this trip. Are you ready to start? Let's leave. Do you know how important it is to stay strong when life gets hard? We all have problems that can seem impossible to solve at times. Emperor Marcus Aurelius was also a great thinker. He taught us a strong lesson. The problems we face are not there to test us, but to show us the way forward. He thought that trouble was a sign of chance. Everything changes when you think this way. Trouble is like a puzzle that we have to figure out. To begin with, it looks hard or even impossible. And so, slowly but surely, we start to put the pieces together until the picture starts to take shape. And it's great to see that puzzle come together, isn't it? Yes, that's what Marcus Aurelius said. Every problem we face is a piece of the big picture that is our lives. Even though we don't know where each piece goes yet, they are all important and have their own place. And every time we get past a problem, it's like we found the right spot for one of those tricky pieces. Now picture that each time you get through a tough situation, you're actually getting better. It's as if every problem you solve and every challenge you face makes you stronger and more sure of yourself. Remember that when you face a struggle, it doesn't mean you should stop. It means you're going in the right direction. It gives you a chance to learn, grow, and get better. Now think about something that is making you feel bad right now. Think of it not as a wall that you can't get past, but as a door. It's a door that, when opened, will help you become the person you want to be. How hard is it? It's possible. But is it really possible? Of course. Keep in mind that you already have everything you need to deal with what's coming. Every problem you face is a chance to show yourself what you can do. Now is the time to take a deep breath, move forward, and face it. You are free to walk the road ahead, and I know you're ready. Focusing on oneself and following Stoic virtues is a concept that shines like a bright star for us on our trip. These old ideas, which come from wisdom, still ring true in today's world with startling clarity. They encourage us to look within and see the great power that lies in our choice to act with wisdom, courage, and temperance. With all of its ups and downs, life gives us a chance to show these virtues every day. What does this really mean, though? It means making choices about how to live that are based on what is right and good for everyone, not just ourselves. It means being honest about our fears and meeting them with courage, balancing our wants and hobbies, and seeking wisdom to figure out what we can change and what we can't. On this road, it's not about big actions or big accomplishments. Things we pick every day are what it's about. It has to do with how we deal with traffic, how we treat our co-workers, and how we spend our time and energy. Every moment gives us a chance to be good and be the best version of ourselves. But how do we keep our attention on ourselves without becoming too self-centered? This is where Stoic wisdom shines, showing us what we can control. We may not be able to control what happens in the outside world, but we can control how we respond to it. Knowing this sets us free. It lets us accept what we can't change and focus on the things we can, our actions, reactions, and thoughts. The suggestion is to learn a lot about ourselves, to see our flaws, and work on making them into strengths. It's a call to live our lives honestly, not to please other people, but to find peace within ourselves by living in line with our core values. Now think about what your life would be like if you faced your fears every day with a little more courage. And if you wanted to find balance, you would say no to too much and yes to what really counts. And if you tried to learn something new every day to get a better sense of the world and yourself, for those who ask them, these are the real steps toward a full and worthwhile life. It's not a trip that ends overnight. Instead, it's a road that opens up with each aware step we take. Yes, you read that right. Let's talk about our power of choice, which makes a big difference in how we live. Realizing that we are in charge of how we respond to everything, even when it seems like everything else is out of our hands, is very interesting. Thought about how many times you've worried about things that you couldn't change in the end? Time, what other people think. What difference did that make? The interesting thing is that we can always choose how we feel about things, even if we can't change them. This is useful, not just a nice thought. It means pausing to ask yourself, okay, this is happening, I can't change it, but how can I deal with it in the best way possible? This doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means meeting them with an attitude that lets us choose how to respond. What about getting to know yourself? Wow, that's a long trip. It's like being a spy in your own life and watching to figure out what really drives you and why you act the way you do. Trust me, you'll know how to get around in this world better if you know more about yourself. The cherry on top is that all of this helps us get along better with each other. You don't have to think of courage only in terms of superheroes or times when you are in great danger, though. We all have moments of courage every day. That strength is what gets us out of bed on rough mornings and pushes us to try something new, face a problem, or own up to a mistake. It takes a lot of courage to face problems, the unknown, our own flaws, and our own mistakes. It's not just facing a big fear when I say this. The little things that happen every day, like when we choose to tell the truth even though we know the other person might not want to hear it, or when we take a moment to look at ourselves, admitting our mistakes and learning from them. When we have courage, we know that we will face obstacles and problems, but we choose to stand our ground. It's like when we know the road ahead is rough, but we still choose to go anyway because we think it's the right thing to do. It's not always easy, and it may feel like we're going against the flow. That's where courage really shines, though. As you may know, courage is not the lack of fear. It's about what we do even though we're scared. That voice inside us says, yes, this is scary, but I am stronger than my fear. And that, my friend, is strong. It changes us and helps us grow. Think about the chances that courage gives us. We have the chance to show how good we are and get better every time we face something with courage. And that's great because we grow every time we face a task or get over our fears. We get stronger and can handle more. Let's change the way we think about courage as something that is always there in our lives, not just for big events, but as a force that pushes us to live more honestly, face our fears, and grow from them. And keep in mind that courage doesn't mean you have to do everything by yourself. It takes courage to ask for help. It takes courage to say we don't know something and want to learn more. To make our daily lives more courageous, let's face our problems, learn from our mistakes, and grow from them, because that's what moves us forward in the end. Now, let's keep talking about temperance. In a world where wanting more seems to be the norm, and where this never-ending quest for more pulls us farther and further away from happiness, an old but very important idea comes to mind: temperance. Yes, this word may make you think of old books and ideas, but it holds a strong secret for living a full and healthy life. Even though the word temperance sounds hard to understand, it has a very easy and powerful meaning. We need to be self-controlled, moderate, and balanced in everything we do. Think of your life as a boat on the ocean. Temperance is the guide that keeps us on path and away from extremes, like storms of too much or peace of not having enough. Stoics, who lived a long time ago, saw this concept as both a virtue and the way to happiness. They teach us that if we live in balance with nature and accept the world as it is, we can control our wants and stay away from the things that take us away from real happiness. The present moment and self-mastery, or staying in the present and controlling yourself, are like keeping the rudder firmly in place at sea. Being patient and able to stay cool can be hard at times because of the way life goes. The truth is that we can't always stop bad things from happening. But here's the secret: the only things we can really manage are how we feel and what we do. It's not about giving up or being quiet. We need to take charge of how we react to things that happen in our lives and accept things as they are. It might seem hard, because who wants to deal with bad times or events they don't want to? Trying to stop things that we can't change is like trying to stop the wind, though. It's pointless and wears us out. Focusing on what we can control, like our actions, thoughts, and emotions, is where our real power lies. To be self-masterful, we need to understand that we can't control everything around us, but we can control the most important thing: ourselves. And that is a wonderful source of freedom. You know that you can choose how to react here, no matter what happens outside. You have peace of mind that can't be shaken, and power that nothing can weaken. The next time something bothers or challenges you, remember that you can choose how to think and act. Ask yourself, can I control this? And then take a deep breath. If the answer is no, accept it and focus on what you can change. You know what to do if the answer is yes. This kind of active and aware acceptance not only brings peace, but it also gives us the power to live a fuller, more meaningful life. It's not easy, of course, but like everything else in life, you have to work at it. Being able to accept the present moment and control ourselves makes us better at going through life with ease, drive, and most importantly, peace of mind. Friends, that's a strong way to live. Getting to know yourself and the mind's power. Self-examination is a strong tool that we all have but don't use enough. Basically, this process is just being honest with ourselves about our feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. It's like taking a break from the daily chaos to look at the plan and make sure we're still going in the right direction. What makes this so important now? Because it's easy to get lost without this time to stop and think. We might end up going down a road that wasn't really best for us. Self-examination helps us see when we're moving without thinking, or when our feelings are taking over and pulling us away from our beliefs and virtues. Also, thinking about ourselves reveals how strong our brains are, how we see the world, and how we deal with problems. It all starts in our minds. If we can learn to control how we think and feel, we have a lot more power over our lives. This doesn't mean ignoring your thoughts or acting like issues don't exist. Being aware that we can't change everything that happens to us, but we can change how we react to it, is what it means. Starting to look at yourself today might be a good idea. Things don't need to be hard. Each day, Take a moment to think about your thoughts and feelings and ask yourself, is this in line with who I want to be? If the answer is no, you've found a way to grow and get better. Meditation and being aware. Let's get right to the point. Change starts in the mind. Have you ever thought about how powerful it is to choose where your feelings and thoughts go? When you look at yourself and use the amazing power of meditation and awareness, you can help with this. This isn't just an old habit or a popular subject. These are new tools that you can use right now in your daily life to gain more power and peace of mind. To become self-aware, you must first understand that self-examination is the key. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? Am I living my life by them? We can grow, figure out what we can do better, and most importantly, make sure our behaviors are in line with our core values when we keep reflecting. Don't forget how powerful it can be to stop and think about your life. This could be the moment when you stop living your life on autopilot and take charge of it. Have you ever thought about how our minds can feel like a rough sea full of fears and thoughts? What if you could make that sea calm down? That sounds really powerful, doesn't it? That's exactly what meditation teaches us. To be with our thoughts, watch them without judging them, and over time, learn how to calm and clear them up. Not getting rid of thoughts, but realizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the watcher, and you can pick which thoughts are worth your attention and which ones can just go away like clouds in the sky. Mindfulness brings us to the present, which is the only real place where life takes place. You start to notice the little things that make everyday life great that you don't normally notice when you do it. Every breath is a chance to be fully alive, and every job, no matter how small, is a chance to be fully involved. Let me invite you to see life as a set of present moments, each of which can be lived fully. Look at yourself as a guide, meditate as a fortress, and use awareness to see the world. You will find an inner strength that you might not have known you had if you do that. To really grow, you need to be strong enough to face life's obstacles and find peace and happiness in the present moment. Being resilient and accepting that things change. The truth is that life is made up of ups and downs, of short-lived events that shape us, test us, and teach us what true inner power is. We can handle life's setbacks as necessary, seeing them not as the end of the road, but as important parts of the way we're building day by day. Accepting that everything changes is at the heart of this journey. This is a moral truth that teaches us to accept that everything changes. Everything grows and changes. We don't have to fight this truth. We can choose to accept it and learn to value each moment more deeply and meaningfully. The more we realize that nothing lasts forever, the less we care about things we can't change. This lets us focus on the things we can change, like our thoughts, actions, and personal growth, not seeing problems as a dead end, but as a chance to grow, to understand yourself and the world better, and to make your character stronger. Every task you face is an opportunity to learn something new, and every obstacle you clear is a step toward your personal growth. Learning to be inner resilient means learning to find peace within yourself, no matter what is going on around you. It means knowing that no matter how bad things get in the outside world, you have an inner fortress, a place of peace and calm that nothing can shake. I implore you to have the courage to view each day and each moment as a priceless chance for development. Allow change to happen in your life, and let it teach you to appreciate the present moment more, so you can live each day with purpose and thanks. Knowing that life is short-lived helps us appreciate the beauty of the present moment and build strength that stays with us through thick and thin. Daily silent habits to help you grow as a person. Before the rest of the world wakes up to its constant noise and chaos, picture yourself for a moment at the center of a universe waiting for your light. I want you to feel this link with the start of a new day, not just picture it. Now is the time to make goals, those quiet choices that fill the day with the colors of your soul. Do small acts of kindness to feed your spirit, like giving someone a smile or helping them out without expecting anything in return. Even though these things may not seem important, they are the building blocks of an inner fortress that can't be broken. During the day, work on the skill of moderation, being able to walk the fine line between too much and not enough, deciding not to give in to the currents of excess, which can be tempting but often pull us away from what is really important. And as night falls, take a moment to think when the sun goes down and turns the sky orange and pink. Now is a great time to read through your day, not with the critical eye of a judge, but with the open mind of a student. What did you learn today? Every day brings new lessons, some of which are very clear, and others of which are hidden in the tangles of our lives. You should keep a gratitude book, I also have the courage to say. This strong habit changes the way we look at things, making us see the glass as full as it can be with good things. Write down both happy and sad times, because even in bad times, there is beauty and lessons to be learned. Stoic ideas lead us on this road, which doesn't promise that storms will never happen, but it does give us the power to get through them. It tells us to be grateful for what we have, to accept what we can't change, and to have the wisdom to know the difference. So, as the sun rises and sets, we grow an inner garden of peace, power, and thanksgiving. Every day, these habits become the paintbrushes we use to paint the picture of our lives, which shows not only who we are, but also who we want to be. Have you ever thought about how to be the best person you can be in a relationship? A lot of people may ask this because, deep down, we all want love, respect, and to know that the people around us really care about us. But how are we going to do this? How can we earn real respect, not just for our achievements or nice traits, but for who we are at our core? Think of each relationship as a journey, and think of yourself as the person you are exploring. You want to find the riches that are hidden in your soul and share them with other people. But to do that, you need a map, a way to find understanding, relationship, and love in the end. Based on 9 old Stoic lessons, it's time to help you figure out what you're really worth in a relationship. Pay close attention, because these aren't just empty words of advice that you hear a lot. It's about giving yourself power in ways you might not have thought of. Get ready to learn the secrets to building relationships that last and are based on mutual respect and inner strength. It's time to begin. Lesson 1. Know how much you're really worth. So, what does Stoicism have to do with knowing what you're worth in relationships? Stoics said that we should focus on what we can change, and guess what? You have full control over your self-worth. It doesn't matter how many likes you get on Facebook or if someone likes you. It's about how you value and see yourself. Think about this. You are a jewel. Is it true that not everyone knows how valuable a rare gem is? Some people might walk by without understanding what it means. That doesn't make the gem less valuable, though. It is still valuable, uncommon, and unique. You are that. It doesn't make you less valuable if someone misses it. Let's be honest. We've all been turned down and felt like we weren't good enough, especially in this world where everyone seems to be doing well. But here's the truth. From a Stoic point of view, your worth doesn't depend on what other people think of you. It has to do with how you act, your values, and the things you do. Do you care about others? Are you being honest? Are you living in a way that fits with what you believe in? That's where your real worth lies. Stoics thought that people should think about themselves. Take a moment to think about your traits, not just the ones that are easy to see, but also the ones that are more hidden. What makes you who you are? Strength will come to you. In partnerships, it's important to find strength in your own value and self-worth. even if other people don't see it. Remember that realizing your worth isn't something that happens just once. It's an ongoing process that changes as time goes on. It means waking up every day and telling yourself that you are valuable, not because of what other people think, but because of the things that make you unique. The second lesson is to treat yourself with respect. Before you think of a Stoic as this old person who is serious and doesn't smile, let me clear things up. Stoicism isn't about hiding your feelings or not caring about anything. It's about knowing what needs your attention and what doesn't. Also, guess what? Your energy should go to how you present yourself. In relationships, let's talk about what it means to treat yourself with respect. Have you ever thought about how we can lose sight of who we really are when we try so hard to please someone? We change what we wear and how we talk in order to be liked. But here's the important thing, and this is where our cool and smart view comes in. Your self-respect has nothing to do with what you wear or where you hang out. It's about what you do, how you act, and the choices you make. Picture yourself in a classroom watching two students give speeches. One of the students tries to impress the class by using big words and movements, while the other student is calm and talks with confidence. Who do you think will stand out among the students? Really honest and at ease in their own skin is often the one, isn't it? This shows how important it is to treat yourself with respect. The Stoics, who were known for their ideas about self-control and virtue, stressed how important it was to be honest and treat yourself with respect. What does this have to do with dating now? Being truly yourself is the only way to go. If you love getting lost in books, don't hide it. It's okay to show how much you care about something. You don't have to act like someone else. You just have to be comfortable with who you are. Being aware that you are important just the way you are. Respecting yourself is another important thing to remember. How you treat yourself sets the standard for how other people should treat you. When you constantly criticize yourself, you're basically telling other people they can do the same. When you value your time, energy, and feelings, on the other hand, you're saying, I deserve respect, and I expect to be treated accordingly. A smart Stoic philosopher named Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." In relationships, it's not just about how you look or what you say. It's also about how you act in different situations. Are you acting out of panic or with respect? Do you give up your values to fit in, or do you stay true to yourself, even if it means standing alone? This doesn't need to be perfect. We all have flaws and times when things go wrong. How you handle those times is what counts. When you're stressed, do you break down, or do you stay strong, learn, and keep going? Take a moment to think about it. How can we start to treat ourselves with more respect? Setting clear limits or saying no to things that don't fit with our values could be part of it. It could also mean being kind and respectful to ourselves more. People will start to value you more if you think that you deserve it. The third lesson is about how to communicate without words. I know this may sound old-fashioned or strict at first, but please bear with me. It's not about being hard to get to know. It's about knowing how valuable you are and loving yourself. What does Stoicism say about this then? In a way that is neither strict nor dull, Stoicism teaches us how to keep our cool and stay strong. It's about knowing what's important and not giving it away too quickly. So often we want things right away and scroll down and down, so Stoicism is a nice change of pace. In relationships, or when we're just starting to know someone, we often feel rushed to give them everything, our time, our space, and our inner feelings. Stoics, on the other hand, say to take a step back. Why? Because something stops being unique when it's always available. It's just how people are. If you always say yes to everything and are there for everyone when they need you, where's the fun, the surprise, and the anticipation? Let's talk about how to set limits in a Stoic way that is polite. First, it starts with how you look. Dressing in a way that is both stylish and humble sends a message. It says, "I respect myself." You're not hiding anything, but you're also not telling everyone everything right away either. Getting balance and saying, "There's more to me than what you see," are important. Managing your time and attention is another important part. In a world with a lot of connections, choosing carefully who gets your time is an important choice. It's not about playing games. It's about saying, "My time is valuable and I carefully choose how to spend it." When you're with someone, give them your full attention and participation. However, when you're not, it's okay to be absent and focus on your own personal growth and life goals. Stoicism also stresses controlling your emotions. Being cold or distant is not encouraged. Instead, it is suggested to keep a fair view. This means that you shouldn't let small things bother you a lot. It's about keeping your calm and mental happiness. It's like how you choose who gets your time and attention. You don't just give your mental energy to everyone. They have to earn it. I'm not saying you should stop caring about other people and become emotionless like a statue of Stoicism. We are all people, and real relationships are important for living a full life. But there's something special about going at a steady pace and making bonds that aren't just based on getting what you want right now. It's about building ties that mean something and last, not just about getting things right away or quickly. It is important to remember that having limits is not about managing people or events. It is about honoring your own values and principles. Showing that you value yourself and deserve to be treated with care is important, and not just through words. So let's be a little pickier, calmer, and more stoic about how we handle our relationships. It's about finding a balance between being open and being smart, between giving and holding back. And trust me, it has a big effect on how people treat and see you. Cheers to putting value on ourselves and being a little more stoic in the dating world today. Fourth lesson, be ready to leave. Stoicism has a strong idea about letting go, but not in a cold or heartless way. Instead, it means figuring out what we can change and what we can't. Making the choice to stay or leave a situation that doesn't serve our well-being is one of the most powerful things we can do. This is especially important when it comes to partnerships. We've all been through this, right? We know we deserve better, but we choose to stay where we are. It could be the fear of being alone, the fear of change, or just holding on to the hope that things will get better. But this is where Stoicism comes in. Knowing that we can stay or leave situations that go against our values gives us real strength. It also lets us choose a different road. Just because things get hard doesn't mean you should give up. Having a relationship takes work, time, and respect. But it's important to know your values and self-worth so well that you're ready to move on when something truly goes against them. You need to have the inner strength and stoic courage to say, "I respect myself too much to settle for less than I deserve." Let's look into this idea some more. Being ready to leave a situation shows that you value yourself, that you should stand up for what you believe in and know what you're worth. Sometimes leaving doesn't have to be a big deal. Sometimes it's a quiet choice, a calm understanding that this isn't right for you. Yes, it can be scary. I know how you feel. Not knowing what the future holds can be scary. But think about our Stoic friends. They taught us how important it is to be strong in difficult situations and accept that life is unsure. To understand that letting go of something that doesn't fit with your path is sometimes the hardest thing you can do. This point of view can change everything. It changes everything when you understand that you're in a relationship because it fits your values and not because you're afraid to leave. It changes the whole picture. You are not staying because you are desperate or afraid. You are staying because it is your real choice. And this is the most important thing. When you bravely leave behind things that don't serve you, you make room for things that do. It's like getting rid of things from the past to make room for the future. Having hope that better things are coming your way and giving yourself the chance to find them is what it means. Remember that being ready to move on doesn't mean being cold or uncaring. It means believing in yourself enough to say, "I deserve something better." It means being stoic when things go wrong and knowing that our worth doesn't depend on other people or things. Lesson 5. Setting limits without making a sound. Stoicism stresses that deeds are more important than words. The Stoics believed that views should be shown, not just said. This is especially important when talking about putting limits in relationships. While it's fine to talk about your limits, it's much more powerful to show them by what you do. You can say, "I won't accept mistreatment," but the real test comes when you actually have to deal with it. Will you stick to your limit, or will you give in? That's real strength, not in what you say, but in what you do. I know this isn't easy. It can be hard, especially when feelings are involved. However, let us remember what the Stoics said. We can choose how to react to things. Your words aren't enough to set and maintain a limit when someone crosses it. What you do next is just as important. Let's say that being honest is very important to you and someone lies to you. How you act in that situation shows how serious you are about your limits. Your deeds show how committed you are to your values, whether you choose to calmly deal with the problem or take a step back. It's not about making trouble, it's about being proud of yourself by acting in a way that supports what you believe in. It's possible for this method to really improve partnerships. People will better understand what you will and will not accept if they see that you have clear limits and are ready to enforce them. It's about taking care of your self-respect and sticking with it. Let's take a simple look at a basic idea. It's not just the big events that matter, but also the little things that happen every day. What do you do when plans change at the last minute, or when someone doesn't value you enough? Do you just brush it off, or do you simply tell them that their behavior is not okay through words and actions? Mindfulness is an important part of Stoicism in this case. It's about being aware of the present moment and how you react to it. Are the things you do in line with what you can do? Are you being true to who you are? Being aware of the little things is important because that's when your limits are really put to the test as you go about your day and talk to other people. When we set limits, let's try to be a little more like the Stoics. Not being willing to give in or change isn't the point. What matters is having an inner guide that shapes how we act and react. You can trust that people will notice when you act this way. For them, you become someone who not only sets limits, but also cares about themselves enough to stick to them. Lesson 6. What you do speaks louder than what you say. We've been learning that Stoicism is about being wise in real life. People should be judged on what they do as well as what they say. A lot of people say nice things, but don't do what they say. This is very true when it comes to partnerships. Stoics say we should not be fooled by appearances and instead focus on what we do. Because acts reveal what is real, Stoics urge us to pay attention to them. Think about this. It's easy for someone to say everything exactly, make promises, and paint a picture of the future that seems perfect. But do they really do what they say? Do their deeds match what they say? That's where the truth is. Be honest for a second. Haven't we all been through this? When we meet someone and hear amazing things from them, we're blown away. But as time goes on, what they say doesn't match what they do. They say they'll call, but never do. They make plans, but then back out at the last minute. We still remember what they said, though. This is when we need to be more like the Stoics. Stoicism tells us not to let words or feelings change our minds. It's about being sensible and seeing things as they really are. It's a bad sign when someone's words don't fit what they do. This is like the world telling you, hey, pay attention, something is wrong here. How you deal with relationships changes when you think this way. You stop being swept away by promises and sweet words and start paying attention to small things. How do they act when they're stressed? Are they going to keep their word? Are they there for you, not just with words but also with deeds that mean something? The interesting part is that you set a norm when you pay attention to what people do instead of just what they say. That makes a big difference because it means you're not just listening to what they say, I'm also watching what they do. They know that they can't just talk their way into your life. They need to show that they're real and trustworthy. But remember that this isn't about being negative or questioning everyone. It's about being smart about how you protect your feelings with some Stoic wisdom. It means keeping your feelings in check and not letting them take over. Let's remember to watch what people do as well as what they say. Let's think about love like the Stoics did, logically, observantly, and thoughtfully. In the end, deeds speak louder than words. Lesson 7. How to develop a healthy skepticism. There is a strong link between Stoicism and truth. Stoics thought that we should see things for what they are, not how we would like them to be. This way of thinking is especially helpful when you're dating or in love. We've all been through it, right? We're quick to believe someone when they say all the right things, even if there are red flags that we choose to ignore. This is a time when having a Stoic attitude can help. Being suspicious in the right way is like having superpowers. It doesn't mean being negative or suspicious. It means being realistic and not taking everything at face value. It means paying attention, asking questions, and not jumping into things without giving them some thought first. Take the following example. You meet someone new, and they seem great. They are saying many nice things to each other, and even planning to spend the rest of their lives together. But it wasn't long ago. Your critical Stoic mind would tell you to relax, wait to see if what they do matches what they say, and watch how things build up. It's like a gentle wake-up call, telling you not to let love take over and to stay grounded and aware. Because you're skeptical, you don't have to question everything the other person does or question everything they say. Instead, you should be thoughtful. It means watching what they do as well as listening to what they say. It means getting to know someone well enough to see if they're honest and reliable. The Stoics stressed that you should use reasoning and reason instead of letting your feelings control you. This way of thinking is very important in partnerships. When our feelings take over, we might miss important information. In contrast, we can better understand things when we mix our emotions with a healthy amount of doubt and smart thought. Another important thing is that it's about keeping your heart safe. By being skeptical, you're not jumping into something without knowing for sure. You're giving yourself a chance to understand the other person's real nature instead of putting your own wants onto them. So let's remember how important it is to have a little Stoic doubt. It's about being smart, paying attention, and not letting our feelings get in the way. It has to do with keeping ourselves and our mental health safe. We shouldn't shut ourselves off. Instead, we should approach new possibilities with care and knowledge. Lesson 8. How to confidently say no. Following your beliefs and being strong enough to be yourself are important parts of Stoicism. This is very important when it comes to relationships and saying no. It means being clear about what you believe and not being afraid to stick to your standards, even if they cause problems. You're in a relationship, and your partner wants to do something that makes you feel bad. It might be going too fast or asking you to do something that goes against what you believe in. It might seem like the easy thing to do, but this is where your Stoic attitude comes into play. When these things happen, saying no shows that you value yourself, your beliefs, and your bounds. It's not a walk in the park, let's be honest. It's really hard, especially if you care about the person. But here's the thing. We've got to muster up the courage to ignore that little voice in your head that keeps saying, "What if saying no pushes them away?" Stoicism isn't just about dealing with problems in the outside world. It's also about facing our own problems head-on. It takes self-respect to say no. Putting yourself first shows that you value yourself and won't settle for less than what you earn. There is a chance that you could lose them, though. The important thing is that if turning down something that goes against your morals makes someone leave you, then maybe they weren't the right person for you in the first place. Taking this method can really change how a relationship works. People will think differently of you if they know you're not afraid to say no and won't give up your ideals to make them happy. You should do it because it shows that you respect and value yourself. And I have to say, that sounds really good. Another Stoic view is that saying no isn't just about setting limits with other people. It's also about being honest with yourself. It's about being honest about what you want and need in a relationship and sticking to those. It's about not letting the fear of being alone make you make choices that aren't true to who you are. Let's take a moment to think about this. Let's make it clear that saying no is not only okay, it's necessary. As the Stoics stressed, it's about being true to ourselves and living with honor. Instead of fear and giving in, it's about building relationships based on shared respect and genuine connection. Lesson 9. Accepting being apart with love. This last lesson may not seem to make sense at first. It's after all what love is all about, being personally engaged and deeply connected. Of course, Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us that true freedom comes from being detached. It's about not letting our feelings control us and letting ourselves love deeply while staying calm inside. Let us break this down a bit. In partnerships, it's simple to let someone else make us happy and count on them for everything. The Stoics, on the other hand, have a different view. They say that even though deep love and relationship are wonderful, we shouldn't depend on another person for our whole well-being. Picture yourself with a pretty flower in your hand. You like its beauty and the fact that it's there, but you know it's fragile. This is how the Stoics thought about love. They valued it, but knew that it would end. It's about savoring the present while knowing that nothing lasts forever. This doesn't mean being cold or uncaring. It means finding a middle ground. To love deeply while also keeping a sense of distance is what it means. It's like gently holding that flower, knowing that its beauty will soon fade, but still loving it. Being detached from love lets us love more easily. It means not expecting too much from other people or trying to control every part of a relationship. Instead, it's about enjoying each moment for what it is worth without holding on to it too tightly. To be clear, detachment doesn't mean being separate from love. It means being separate from the results. It's about liking someone without expecting anything in return and giving without expecting anything in return. Real love is selfless, doesn't depend on wants or fears, and doesn't have any limits. Right now, this is hard to do. It takes work, time, and a readiness to let go of our attachments to certain results. But as we work on having this attitude, we feel more open and at peace with ourselves. We are no longer controlled by our feelings. We are now in charge of our own happiness. Let's accept separation with love. Let's love deeply but lightly, and enjoy each moment without holding on to it too tightly. Let's be free when we let go, and happy when we love without expecting anything in return. This is the Stoic way of love, which leads to real happiness and satisfaction in relationships. Do not fear being by yourself. Being alone is much better than being with bad people. Nothing, no one, or every event in our lives is without energy, and not all of this energy is good for us. To learn to detach, you have to realize that hanging on to the old keeps the new from coming in. Making room in your life is like cleaning out a house that's full of old things so that light and air can flow in. This movie encourages you to learn the art of separation, which is a process that changes you beyond just loss and leads you to a road of freedom and self-discovery. There is more to separating than just letting go of things that don't serve you anymore. It is an act of deep rebirth. We will talk about smart and effective ways to let go of things that don't serve us anymore so that we have room for new experiences, relationships, and chances. This part is for people who feel weighed down by too much feeling and who want clarity, peace, and a new sense of purpose. Let's learn how to break free from the past and enjoy the happiness that comes with being in the present. First, take some time to be alone. Getting away from people, events, or things that aren't good for you can be helped by taking some time to yourself. This time apart gives you a chance to see things from a different angle, think about and feel your feelings again, and figure out how this relationship is affecting your life. It is very important to do things that help you learn about yourself and grow as a person during this time. This can mean spending time with people who make you feel good, doing hobbies or interests you haven't done in a while, or even trying new things that make you see the world in a bigger way. This distance doesn't mean breaking all ties for good. It just means giving yourself the room you need to breathe, think, and heal. You might find that your view on the person or situation has changed over time, which will help you make better, more solid choices about what to do next. To remember, separation takes time and patience, and you need to understand yourself first. During this time, let yourself feel what you need to feel, but also make a promise to move on and put your peace and happiness first. Number 2. Telling the difference between what you need and what you want. Knowing the difference between what you need for your health and well-being and what you just want can give you a new viewpoint and help you deal with the mental stress of bad relationships. Needs like food, housing, love, and safety are important for your life and emotional health. Wants, on the other hand, are things you might want but aren't necessary for your life or long-term happiness. Emotions, social forces, or habits often shape how they act. Take an honest look at your life to start telling the difference between needs and wants. Do I really need this to live or be happy? Or is it something I just want for convenience or short-term pleasure? By asking these questions, you can start to see where wants may be hiding as needs and causing you to become attached to things you don't need. Also, once you know what you really need, you can start to enjoy what you have instead of always wanting more or better. This doesn't mean you should reject all your wants. Instead, it means you should realize and accept that some of them aren't necessary for your happiness. Being thankful can also help you tell the difference between what you need and what you want. You can be happy with the simple things in life and lessen your desire to always want more by focusing on what you have and what's important. Number 3, be very logical. To do this, you have to take your feelings out of the scenario and look at it from a purely reasonable and factual point of view. First, look at the relationship or situation objectively and list its pros and cons. Make a list of the real benefits and possible downsides. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow? Is it in line with my values and life goals? What are the real effects of keeping this connection? Being absolutely logical also means being aware of and questioning your own reasons and explanations. We often keep people or things in our lives because we're used to them, afraid of being alone, or feel unsafe without them. By giving clear reasons against these reasons, you can begin to see things in a different way. Also, think about the other options and possible ways to fix the problem at hand. This could mean making new plans, looking for new ways to be happy and satisfied, or just realizing that you can't change some things and it's time to move on. Adopting a reasonable approach doesn't mean you should hide or ignore your feelings. Instead, it means combining your feelings with a careful and thoughtful look at the facts. It will help you make better, more healthy choices about how and when to separate. Number 4, being open to change. It is important for the process of separation to take a relaxed attitude toward change. Life is full of change, which can be welcomed or not. It brings new chances, challenges, and points of view. Realizing that change is a part of being human makes it easier to let go of attachments and resistance to certain people, things, or situations. When we realize that everything around us is always changing, we learn to value the moment more and enjoy people and events while they are still around. Not only does this knowing make the pain of separation easier, it also gets us ready to welcome new parts of our lives with openness and interest. To accept change, we have to understand that our lives are made up of different stages, and each stage has its own worth and lessons to teach us. This lets us let go of things that aren't helping us grow, making way for new situations that will. Accepting that change as a part of life helps us become more flexible, strong, and at peace with ourselves, which helps us get through life's changes. This is a very important step toward letting go with ease and trust, which lets us move with life instead of against it. 5. Pay attention to your most important wants. This is a good way to separate yourself from things, people, or events that don't add much value to your life. By thinking about what's really important again, you can see what's most important to you and where you should focus your energy and attention. Find your basic needs, like being healthy, safe, loved, and having high self-esteem, and compare them to the wants that led you to become attached. Through this process, we often realize that a lot of our time and energy is being spent on things that don't improve our basic health. You can make room in your mind and heart for new adventures and deeper connections by focusing on the things that are most important. Focus on meeting these basic wants, and you'll find that you easily let go of less important things after this reorientation. 6th, being aware of how things change over time. Being aware that everything in life, including people, is temporary can help us loosen our mental and emotional grip on them. This understanding comes from the thought that life is meant to flow and change. When you understand that nothing is set in life, not even relationships or situations, you start to accept changes as a normal part of life instead of fighting them. As you learn that loss is a normal part of life, this helps you deal with the fear, anxiety, and sadness that come with changes or losses. This knowledge can also help you enjoy the present more, pushing you to value people, moments, and things while they are in your life without becoming too attached to them. Detachment doesn't mean you should stop caring or being close to someone. Instead, it means you should work on loving someone without possessing them, in a way that is aware and doesn't have strict standards. As you learn to accept life and its events as they are, not as you wish they were, reflecting on change can also give you courage and a sense of thanks. Realizing that everything changes over time helps you let go of attachments that are holding you back and enjoy the flow of life with more peace and openness. 7th, looking for new things to do. It can be nice to be relaxed, but being familiar with people and situations can keep you stuck in habits and relationships that don't help you grow as a person. By looking for new hobbies, activities, and social interactions, you add variety and newness to your life, which can make what you used to find important less important and lessen your connection to it. This search can come in many forms, such as wanting to learn a new skill, see new places, or join different kinds of social groups or communities. As you go through new things, you can learn about parts of yourself that you didn't know before and figure out what makes your life truly meaningful and satisfying. Also, when you go to new places and meet new people, you get new ideas and opinions that can help you rethink and change how you feel about past relationships and situations. This not only makes it easier to separate yourself from things, but it also adds to your life experience, making you stronger and better able to handle changes in the future. Number 8. Do the exercise of daily reflection. You can figure out what's really important to you and what's just taking up mental and emotional room without giving you anything of value by giving your goals some thought. To begin, find a quiet time during the day to sit and think. It could be in the morning to set goals for the day, or at night to think about what you've learned and what you've experienced. Ask yourself things like, what do I value in my life? What goals am I pursuing? Is there something or someone I am holding on to that does not contribute to my well-being or personal growth? Write down your thoughts and feelings in a journal. Writing can help you understand your ideas better and see patterns in the way you act and think. You can keep track of your work and make changes as needed by going over your notes often. Thinking about the things you do and the decisions you make every day can also help you understand and accept yourself better. Over time, you'll see what needs to change in your life and be able to make choices that are more in line with your values and goals. Additionally, daily thought fosters thankfulness by emphasizing what you have and what you have accomplished rather than what is missing or what has been lost. It naturally makes you less attached to other people, things, or events as you develop a happy and satisfied mindset. Identifying dangerous ties is the 9th step. To separate from people, you need to figure out which ties are bad for your health. To do this, you need to carefully and honestly watch how you connect with others, how you feel, and how you respond to different parts of your life every day. Ask yourself, what or who is draining your energy? Are there things or situations that make you feel uncomfortable, sad, or anxious for no reason? Once you know what these unhealthy ties are, look at how they affect your life. Think about how your life would be better if you cut down on or got rid of these factors. As part of this process, you might think about old views, habits, and ideals that might not be useful or important anymore. The next thing to do is to make a plan of action. This could mean setting healthy limits, being clear about what you need, or even ending the relationship if that's what you need to do. It could also mean changing your surroundings, getting rid of things that remind you of bad times, or starting new habits and activities that are more in line with your values and goals right now. 10th, put limits on what you want. We can see and accept that not everything we want or need is within our grasp when we use this method. This is a fact that everyone faces, but it can be a problem when our wants hold us captive and we only think about what we can't have. This can make us feel frustrated, unhappy, and useless. First, think about what the difference is between wanting and needing. Ask yourself if what you want is really important for your happiness and health, or if it's just a passing fancy. You might find that many of your wants are not as important as you thought after making this difference. Next, show your appreciation for what you have. Focusing on the good things in your life, even if they seem small or unimportant, can help make your unfulfilled wants seem less important. This not only makes you feel better and more satisfied, but it also shifts your attention from what is missing to what is good. Setting goals that are attainable is another good approach. Instead of setting goals that are too high for you to reach, think about what you can do with the tools you already have. This makes you feel like you've accomplished something and made progress, which lowers your feelings of lack and boosts your self-esteem. Finally, teach yourself how to say no. Setting limits for yourself is important for controlling your wants and keeping a good balance. Remember that saying no to a short-term want can mean yes to peace of mind and real freedom in the long run. You have more control over your mental and material life when you put limits on your wants. This makes it easier to separate from things that are bothering you and promotes inner well-being. Number 11, a look at creation. An effective way to separate yourself from people, things, or events that aren't good for you is to do creative things. Being creative lets you try out new ways to show yourself and find out what makes you special. You can get away from daily worries and ties by focusing on making something. This lets you turn your energy towards something positive and personally important. First, figure out what makes you happy and creative. This could be writing, drawing, music, dance, photography, or any other form of artistic expression. Don't worry about what other people will think or how the end result will turn out. The point is to be creative and let your creativity run freely. As a form of therapy, creative exploration can help you work through feelings, experiences, and thoughts in a way that words alone can't always do. Giving yourself time to do artistic things can help you deal with bottled-up feelings, lower your stress, and improve your relationship with yourself. Focusing on creative projects can also help you feel good about yourself and boost your confidence, especially if you're having a hard time separating from relationships or situations that make you feel bad about your self-esteem. This can be very freeing. It teaches that mistakes and delays are normal parts of learning and growing because it supports trying new things and failing. Have the courage to experiment with artistic mediums and creative endeavors that are outside of your comfort zone. This not only gives you more ways to be creative, but it can also help you find new hobbies and loves, which will help you detach even more. 12. Love the facts and accept them. This step in the separating process can be one of the hardest and freeing ones. Realizing and accepting the way things are without trying to change them, fight them, or wish they were different is what it means. Do not fight against what is. Instead, learn to go with the flow of life's events and situations. This acceptance doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means having a deep understanding that we can't change some things. When we accept things as they are, we let go of the energy we use to fight them or deny them. In this way, we can focus on what we can change, how we respond and feel about things. Having kindness for yourself and others is part of loving the facts as they are. Understand that everyone is doing their best with what they have right now. When you don't judge other people or events, you create inner peace, which is necessary for separation. 13. Pay attention to internal control. Realizing that we can only control our own actions and responses, and not those of other people or outside situations, is a common first step toward detachment. When you understand this, you can focus on changing what you can and accept what you can't change. This leads to peace and clarity. By working on your self-control, you can boost your confidence, set goals for yourself, and feel better about life in general. This doesn't mean giving up when things get hard. Instead, it means picking a balanced and helpful reaction, keeping your inner peace and mental balance even when things are unsure or when you're in a tough situation. This way of doing things helps you stay focused on your own growth and on what's important to you. Number 14. Facing your fears. When we try to detach, we often have to face the fears that keep us attached, like fear of being alone, failing, being rejected, or change. The first step to getting over these fears is to recognize and understand them. To get to the bottom of these fears and understand how they affect your behavior and choices, you may need to do a lot of deep thinking, writing, or even therapy. Once you are aware of your fears, you can start to think about whether they are real and useful in your present situation. People may have a lot of these fears because of things that happened in the past or ideas that are no longer true or important. By facing them, you can re-evaluate how you see things and make room for new experiences and insights. In addition, facing your fears takes courage and action. Putting yourself in situations you usually avoid, practicing self-affirmation when you feel insecure, or just letting yourself feel bad without running away from it could be ways to do this. Your strength and resilience grow with each step you take toward facing your fears. One thing you learn as you work through your fears is that many relationships are just ways of avoiding facing your fears. When you let go of these fears, it's easier to separate yourself from people, things, or situations that aren't good for your growth or happiness. This not only helps you separate from things, but it also makes your life more free and real. Number 15. Getting stronger when bad things happen. Being resilient or able to bounce back from failures or problems is an important part of the separation process. Being adaptable not only helps you deal with problems you're facing now, but it also gets you ready for problems that might come up in the future. To do this, you have to understand that problems are a normal part of life and that you can solve them and learn from them. To become more resilient, practice taking things as they come up without automatically labeling them as bad or impossible to handle. Talk to trusted family or friends to strengthen your support network. Develop a positive outlook by concentrating on the lessons learned rather than dwelling on failure or disappointment feelings. Don't forget to set reasonable goals and enjoy small successes. They are all important steps toward healing. You can handle hard times better and grow without holding on too tightly to people, things, or situations that aren't good for you or your growth when you build resilience. Number 16. Building and maintaining good relationships. Spending time with people who support your goals, respect your limits, and have courage for your well-being is an investment in a relationship that helps both of you grow. Looking for new friends or partners isn't the only way to do this. You should also look at your current relationships and, if necessary, change how they work. Open conversation, shared respect, and an equal sharing of support are all signs of a healthy relationship. People who care about us make us feel respected, understood, and safe, which is good for our personal growth. On the other hand, relationships that are poisonous or one-sided can keep bad attachment patterns going, which can stop you from growing as a person. Putting our time and energy into relationships that are in line with our values and goals helps us see how valuable we are and gives us the strength to let go of things that are no longer serving us. This could mean setting new limits, being clearer about what we need, or, in some cases, staying away from people who drain us or make us feel less important. It takes work and self-awareness to build and keep good partnerships. Giving and getting, knowing and being understood are all things that happen all the time. As we make these good links, it gets easier to let go of the bad ones from the past and focus on the things that really make our lives better and help us grow. Number 17. Thinking about your impact. This kind of thought can really push us to let go, especially when we understand that some of the things we're attached to now might not fit with the memory we want to leave behind. It takes courage to evaluate our goals, actions, and relationship with others when we consider the impact we want to leave. When we think about it, what we're doing, the people we're with, and the things we're connected to might not really help us leave the mark we want to leave on the world. This activity of thought helps us figure out what isn't necessary or is hurting our larger goal and let it go. Focusing on the impact we want to leave behind helps us see what's really important. This makes us want to spend our time, energy, and money on things, people, and activities that really mirror our core values and long-term goals. When we understand that many of our present ties may be stopping us from meeting our bigger goals, it's easier to let go of them. Additionally, considering our heritage gives us the courage to live more deliberately and to make choices that are in line with what we want our life to mean. This not only helps you let go of things that aren't important, but it also gives you a sense of purpose and satisfaction. We become more aware of how our actions affect others and the world around us when we think about our impact. This helps us find a more important and satisfying path. There is a lot of noise in the world about how to stand out, be seen, and be heard, so it's easy to forget how powerful silence can be. As far back as we can remember, the Stoics were right. They knew that quiet is a source of strength that can draw people in without saying a word. Imagine going into a room and becoming the center of attention without trying. It's not because you're the biggest or flashiest, but because you have such an interesting personality. It sounds like you're saying a lot without saying anything. This isn't just something from myths or old theory. You can actually do it right now. We're going to get to the heart of silent attraction by following the ancient advice of Stoicism. It's not enough to just walk in. You need to leave an image that lasts and feels as easy as breathing. If you've ever felt like you couldn't be heard in a world full of noise, now is the time to learn how to let your silence speak louder than words. Let's use the old art of Stoic charm to figure out how to become naturally magnetic and turn heads without even trying. If you like the journey we're taking together to find knowledge and peace, please do me a simple free favor and click that subscribe button. Remember that this message is just for you. If you've ever felt like you weren't like everyone else, don't skip any part of the movie. The power of being. You're the one we've been waiting for. Sometimes we hide what we're thinking, what we're interested in, or even what we think in order to fit in. Everyone has been there. Stoicism, on the other hand, gently guides us back to our true way. It tells us that being real is the most attractive and magnetic quality we have. Being honest with yourself puts you in tune with your nature, and the people around you feel this unity. As if I were to send out a signal that says, "This is me, unfiltered, unapologetic, and real." And trust me, that kind of truth is powerful. But let's take it a step further. To be yourself, you have to accept your flaws, your interests, and your weaknesses. It means being strong in your views, even if everyone else tries to change your mind. It's about being happy with who you are and knowing that your honest expression is what makes you unique. Remember that the Stoics put virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation above all else. Being led by these ideals, your inner moral compass, not only makes you more attractive to other people, it also brings you closer to peace and happiness in your own life. So, how can you start to enjoy the power of being yourself? It starts with some self-reflection. Know your beliefs, your interests, and your limits by taking the time to get to know yourself. Think about what makes you living, what drives you, and how you can stay true to yourself in everything you do. After that, be brave and show the world who you really are. It's not about being perfect or making everyone happy. It's about being real, being steady in what you say and do, and being your true self every day. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." If you change the word man to person, the lesson is still the same. Don't think about what makes someone likable or beautiful all the time. Accept who you are, live by your values, and let your true self shine. That's the strength of being yourself. And trust me, being yourself is your strength in a world that often values uniformity. People are drawn to you in the most natural and deep way because of how quietly beautiful you are. There is a lot that we can say with our style and how we show ourselves to the world without saying a word. Stoicism doesn't tell us to give up our material things or not care about how we look. Instead, it helps us live with purpose, and that includes how we show who we are through our style. Stoicism tells us how important it is to be real and keep things simple. It tells us to pay attention to what really counts in style. Not following a basic style or giving up fashion totally. It means picking clothes that fit our real selves, clothes that show who we are, what we believe, and what we do in life. Instead of simply following every passing trend, it's about making decisions that are in line with our deepest selves. How do you feel when you wear something that fits you perfectly? Feeling sure of yourself, at ease, and maybe even a little unbeatable. This is because being true to yourself is stronger when your look matches your inner world. People will notice you, not because you're flashy or expensive, but because you have a unique sense of who you are. Style, however, is more than just clothes. It includes everything about your look, from the way you wear your hair to the items that become a reflection of who you are. Every decision you make is like a brushstroke on a painting of who you are. Stoicism gives us the courage to make these decisions carefully and to make sure they're not just making noise. How can we use the knowledge of the Stoics to improve our style? First, think about what each piece of clothing in your closet says about you. Does it fit with what you believe in? Does it show who you are or what you want to become? The point isn't to please other people, but to be yourself in a way that is real and imposed. Always keep in mind that your style changes. Your style will shift and change as you grow, change, and go through life. That's fine at all. During these changes, it's important to stay true to yourself and let your outward expression change along with your inner journey. Body language. It's amazing how much we can say with our bodies without speaking. People around us can read our body language from the way we stand, move, and even the way we walk through a room. At its core, Stoicism teaches us how to be in charge of and aware of our bodies as well as our thoughts. It's about realizing that how we act on the outside shows what's going on inside. From a Stoic point of view, body language isn't just about changing our moves to look a certain way. It's also about making sure that our actions match our inner values and goals. It's about being honest and making sure that what we say and what we do match up. Think about how easy it is to keep your stance straight. It's not just about looking sure of yourself. It's a physical sign of self-respect and personal honor, which are very important in Stoicism. Standing tall with your head held high and shoulders back not only shows that you're sure of yourself, but it also tells you that you deserve respect. Being sure of yourself makes people want to be around you, giving off an air of confidence and accessibility. It's not just stance, though. The small changes in our faces, the brightness of our smiles, and the truthfulness in our eye contact are all very important parts of body language. They can bring people together and make them feel seen and understood, even when no words are said. For example, a real smile can open up even the most closed heart, and real eye contact can make a link that feels as deep as a talk. Stoicism gives us the courage to be aware and present in every moment, and this includes our body language. Being truly present means being aware of how our bodies are interacting with those around us. It means making sure that our body language shows how we really feel and what we want to say, whether that's showing sensitivity, openness, or just a willingness to interact. A scent worth remembering. It's amazing how one scent can take us back in time, make us feel something, or even change how we see someone. It's not enough to just pick out a perfume or cologne. You need to pick out a smell that becomes a part of who you are and leaves a lasting impression without even speaking. Stoicism teaches us that we need to be deliberate in every part of our lives, even in the seemingly unimportant thing like picking a perfume. Forget about the newest trend or the most expensive brand. Instead, choose a smell that fits who you are and the impact you want to make on the world. When carefully picked, it's a way of communicating without words that shows who you are and what you stand for. It's not just an ornament to have a signature smell. It's a personal statement that shows how unique you are in a subtle but strong way. A well-chosen scent can show your personality, mood, and even your goals, just like Stoics think that our actions and words should reflect our inner values. There is a scent that tells people, "This is me," and it leaves a picture in their minds and noses. Picking this smell takes being aware. It's important to know not only the scents you like, but also how they interact with your body chemistry, the places you hang out, and the message you want to send. Do you want to make people feel calm and trusting? It could be a clean, fresh smell. Or maybe you want people to remember you as brave and daring. Then you might want to try something with woodsy or spicy notes. The important thing is to make sure that your choice of smell fits with who you are and what you believe in, similar to the Stoic idea of living in balance with your true nature. Also, the philosophical practice of balance can be used here as well. It's not about overpowering people with a strong smell. Instead, pick a scent that whispers rather than yells, one that draws them in. The smell stays in a room, leaving a soft but lasting mark, just like the quiet but deep effect we hope to have on the world through our Stoic actions and decisions. Nowadays, digital contact often takes away the subtleties of face-to-face conversation. Manners are a way to reconnect with real people. We're talking about more than just saying please and thank you. We're talking about how the grace with which we interact with others can leave a lasting impression, in the same way that Stoicism teaches us to act with virtue and respect in all areas of our lives. The idea of enchanting manners fits perfectly with Stoicism, which is based on virtue, self-control, and kindness. Following social rules isn't just about looking nice, it's also about showing respect, kindness, and care for others through everything we do. When Stoic beliefs and how we treat others are in sync, it creates a quietly strong pull. It shows that we are aware of what we're doing and really care about the people we deal with. Think about what would happen if we really listened when someone spoke or engaged with them fully, without our phones or our own thoughts getting in the way. Being present is an important part of Stoic practice. It shows that we value the person and the moment we're having with them. In today's often apathetic world, this easy but meaningful way really hits home. Additionally, Stoicism teaches us how important it is to understand and share other people's feelings. When we show real concern through our manners and are quick to lend a hand or offer support, we're following Stoic ideals in the most approachable ways. Not only do these acts of kindness and understanding make us more likable, they also make people want to connect with us on a deep level. But let's also talk about the finer points of manners and how to handle difficult social situations with class. From how to properly eat to how to have a good chat, these skills show that we are aware of and appreciate the time and people we are with. Stoicism doesn't tell us to shut out the world. It teaches us to interact with it carefully. Being able to master these social skills shows that you are engaging with it. We should care enough about others to think about what we do and follow the unspoken rules that help people connect in deeper ways. It's not just advice to be fully present. It's a strong call to action, a way to fix the shallow exchanges that are all too common in our busy world. Believe it or not, it fits in perfectly with the Stoic theory, which says to live in the present and enjoy the moment for what it is. Stoicism tells us to focus on the things we can change and let go of the things we can't. When we use this in our relationships with other people, it means giving them our full attention without worrying about the past or the future. There should be a sense of presence that says, "You are important to me, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be." This kind of care is rare and valuable, and it can turn even the most boring conversation into a deep bond. Being present is more than just being there. It means actively participating in the here and now, and hearing not just to answer, but to really understand. It's the difference between talking to someone who is always looking at their phone and talking to someone who is fully focused on you and makes you feel like you're being heard and seen. The latter can make an impact that lasts, giving off an air of kindness and sincerity that is incredibly attractive. But how do we become more present in a world that is always trying to get our attention? Being mindful, or being aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judging them, is the first step. When we pay more attention, we can catch ourselves when our thoughts wander and gently bring them back to the present. Just like any other skill, it gets better with time and practice. Stoicism also gives us the courage to see the present moment as a gift and to enjoy its beauty. Everything we do, no matter how short, is a chance to meet, learn, and grow. When we treat others with this attitude, we not only make our own lives better, but we also have a big impact on the lives of those around us. Being present, on the other hand, means letting down your guard and letting others see you without the shields you usually put up. It's about taking off the mask and connecting with each other on a human level, because at our core, we all want to understand and connect with each other. This openness, which might seem scary, is actually very strong. It gets rid of hurdles and builds trust, which makes it possible for relationships to get stronger and more important. To tell you that sometimes less is more. Stoic philosophy gives us this idea, which teaches us the value of control and the power of keeping some things close to our chest. It's not about lying or keeping things secret. It's about choosing what to say about ourselves and when to say it. People are drawn in and want to know more about the person behind the mask because of this limited sharing. Stoicism, which focuses on self-reflection and personal growth, gives us the courage to work on building our character instead of looking for approval from others. Developing a sense of wonder goes hand in hand with this mindset. By not putting all of our cards on the table, we encourage people to get to know us better and see more than the surface. It's a hint that there's more to us than meets the eye and a call to look deeper. This doesn't mean pretending to be someone else or playing games. Instead, it means letting our depth and complexity show themselves freely over time. What's the difference between a book that gives away the plot in the first few pages and one that builds a story that you can't put down, slowly revealing its secrets? Which one is more interesting to you? When talking to people in person, the same rule holds. Adding a bit of surprise to a talk can turn it from a simple exchange of facts to an interesting finding. It turns every contact with us into a part in a story that other people want to read, drawing them in with the depth of our character. But how do we find the best balance? Being aware of what we share and why we share it is the first step. We shouldn't share just to fill the void, or because we feel obligated to do so in today's society of oversharing. Stoicism praises self-control as a virtue that helps people walk the fine line between being open and keeping some mystery. The quality of our links is more important than the number of them, because we know that stronger relationships are built on discovering and respecting each other's depth. Additionally, welcoming a bit of surprise shows that we value our own inner world. Some ideas, memories, and goals are so valuable that they become even more valuable when they are not given away for free. Sharing only certain things isn't about hiding, it's about cherishing. Because it's offered instead of forced, the sharing that does happen is more important. We learn to listen more when we take this calm attitude to mystery. We can hear other people and really connect with them when we don't want to fill the place with our own stories. This makes the talk more interesting for both sides because it's a game of giving and taking. It encourages real interest and relationship, which can be very gratifying. Being able to name major cities and know facts aren't enough. You need to understand the heart of other cultures and appreciate their traditions, problems, and joys. To develop a global attitude that values difference and encourages kindness, we need to broaden our perspectives. This can be done by following the Stoic quest of knowledge and the virtue of wisdom. Stoicism tells us how important it is to understand things that are bigger than our own experiences. People are encouraged to look outward, learn from the world around them, and see the humanity in everyone. Developing cultural knowledge not only makes our own lives better, but it also makes the world kinder and more linked. We're going to do that. By studying the rich weave of human society and putting ourselves in other people's shoes, we're not only broadening our own views, but also breaking down the walls that often separate us. Just think about how much more interesting and deep our talks and exchanges are when we can share a story from a different culture or even just a few words in a different language. Building bridges means showing respect for other people's experiences and letting them know that we value variety, not just as an idea, but as a real thing. To do this, we don't need to have traveled the world or know a lot about every country. Instead, it's about developing interest, curiosity, and an open mind so that you can learn from the different ways people live around the world. Also, the focus of Stoicism on self-improvement and personal growth is a great fit with the search for societal knowledge. By learning about other ideas and worldviews, we're not just gathering facts. We're also questioning our beliefs, facing our biases, and becoming more empathetic. In a way, we're teaching ourselves, which is making us more well-rounded and caring people who can interact with the world in a deeper way. But how do we grow this traditional knowledge? There are small steps that can be taken right away, like reading books by authors from around the world, watching movies that show different ways of life, and enjoying art and music from different countries. It means looking for talks that make us think more deeply and get us out of our comfort zones. Every cultural experience and piece of information we learn adds to what we already know, broadening our view and making it easier for us to connect with others. It's not enough to just feel sorry for someone. You need to really understand their feelings, their joys and problems, and connect with them on a deep level. Being compassionate helps us see past our differences and see that we are all human, which is what brings us all together. Stoicism has a lot of different ideas, but one of the most important ones is compassion. This is because compassion shows that all living things are linked and care about each other. Stoicism shows us how important it is to see the connections between people and encourages us to care about more than just our personal group and the world as a whole. Not only does it tell us to feel deeply, but it also tells us to act on those feelings in a useful way. People who show kindness are giving more than just pity. They are giving a piece of themselves, like their time, attention, and support. Doing something nice for someone else, putting ourselves aside to ease their stress, is one of the most beautiful traits a person can have. It brings people to us and gives our relationships a warmth and depth that we can't fake. But being kind isn't always simple. It takes us to face our own pain and sit with other people's pain without jumping to give quick fixes or cliches. It tells us to really listen and try to understand before we try to be understood. This amount of involvement can be hard, but it's also very satisfying. By letting other people's experiences into our hearts, we not only make their lives easier, but we also make our own lives better by seeing things from different points of view. In a world that can feel lonely and split, kindness also helps people feel like they belong and are part of a group. Kind deeds help us remember that we're not alone and are a part of something bigger than ourselves. Having this link is something that many of us really want, and it's what makes kindness such a strong way to build relationships. Being genuinely concerned about someone else's well-being builds strong, long-lasting relationships that go beyond the surface level of everyday interactions. To be compassionate, you also have to be open to being hurt. Being open to the idea of being touched by other people's pain, of feeling it as if it were our own, is what it means. It may be scary to be so open and vulnerable, but it's also a strength. It shows a level of honesty and openness about feelings that is rare and valuable. It shows that we're ready to put our pride aside and connect with others in a genuine way. Being real draws people to us in a way that relationships at a surface level could never do. People often say that laughing is the best medicine. It might not cure all illnesses, but it can change the mood of everyone in the room. Laughter has a special kind of magic because it can spread and make even the saddest hearts feel better. Stoicism and laughing may not seem like they would go together at first look, but at its core, Stoicism is about living a good life, finding joy in the present moment, and relating deeply with others, all of which are directly helped by laughter. The Stoics knew how important it was to be happy and not take life too seriously all the time. They knew that laughing could help them be stronger and deal with the silly things and problems in life with a lighter mood. We all have the ability to be happy, even though we are different. This laughter brings us together to remember that. Focusing on the present is another Stoic concept that can be seen in laughter. Genuine laughing takes us out of the past and into the present, leaving us without any fears about the future or the present. It's a way to be aware and fully enjoy the present moment and the happiness it can bring. When we laugh, we're not just taking a break from the problems in our lives. We're practicing Stoic acceptance, which means we know we can't change everything that happens to us, but we can choose to welcome life's happier times with open arms. Laughter is also a great way to bring people together. It takes down walls and builds bridges. Sometimes we laugh together, which makes us more open, linked, and human. This fits with the Stoic view that everyone is linked and part of a group. When we laugh together, it reminds us of how similar we are as people, how many feelings and experiences we share. Laughter makes us feel like we fit, like we're not so different after all, even though our backgrounds and life stories are different. How, then, can we make our lives more funny? We need to start by not being too serious about things. Being open to life's silly moments, finding humor in our flaws, and learning to laugh at ourselves are all important parts of this book. This doesn't mean avoiding how bad some things are or minimizing the real problems we face. Instead, it's about seeing things from a balanced point of view and realizing that both happiness and sadness are normal parts of being human. We can find and make chances to be happy by reading funny things, spending time with people who make us laugh, or just practicing finding the funny side of events that happen every day. Self-care is a small but powerful act of defiance that can completely change our lives in a world that often tells us to put everyone and everything else before ourselves. Self-care is more than just going to the spa once in a while or eating some treats. We have to make an effort to take care of our physical, mental, and spiritual health. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to control ourselves and know what we can do. In this light, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's a way to practice, realizing that it's our job to keep our own health in good shape. The Stoics thought that each person was valuable and that being at our best was important. Why? Well-being and strength are the only ways we can make a difference in the world, live by our ideals, and do what we're supposed to do for other people. As a Stoic, taking care of yourself means showing appreciation for the gift of life and the body and mind that help us get through it. Knowing that being able to think, feel, and act in line with our values is connected to taking care of ourselves is a part of this. Being able to respect ourselves in this way is important for how we engage with the world. People who put their health and happiness first are more likely to be able to handle the problems of life with strength and understanding. In the Stoic sense, though, self-care is more than just taking care of your body. It's also about building a strong mind and mental strength. Mindfulness, thoughtful thinking, and seeking out intellectual and emotionally stimulating tasks are all parts of it. This all-around approach to self-care makes sure that we're not only physically fit, but also emotionally and mentally ready to deal with life's challenges in a useful way. Self-care also has a positive effect on others. We can do more for other people when we're at our best. Our relationships get better as we learn to be more patient, understanding, and present. We give back to our communities with more energy and efficiency. This is what it means to live in service to the general good, which is a Stoic goal. In a roundabout way, taking care of ourselves helps those around us because we're better able to offer support, advice, and kindness. So how can we take care of ourselves every day in a way that fits with Stoic values? Simple, deliberate actions like eating healthy foods that feed our bodies, exercising to build strength, making sure we get enough rest, and setting aside time for thought and relaxation are the first steps. It also means setting limits to protect our time and energy, being able to say no when we need to, and putting activities that are in line with our ideals and help us grow at the top of our list. The allure of being free. People in our culture really connect with this thought because we value independence and personal freedom a lot. On the other hand, when we get to the core of independence, it's not about being alone or isolated. It's about the strength and confidence that come from knowing you can do things on your own. Stoicism's main idea is that this strength isn't just being able to get by without help. It's also about surviving on your own terms, making choices that are in line with your ideals, and living a life that is truly yours. Stoicism, which stresses self-control, accountability, and the search for virtue, tells us that real freedom comes from within. There is freedom in knowing what you want, being in charge of your feelings, and knowing that your happiness and peace of mind come from inside you, not from outside events or other people's views. This way of thinking pushes us to develop a kind of freedom that is based on self-sufficiency, fortitude, and the knowledge that we have the ability to make our lives fit our values. There is a deep appeal to this kind of freedom. It looks good because it shows that the person is not easily moved by what other people think and doesn't need outside approval to feel valuable or successful. Being independent means being sure that the decisions you make are the right ones for you, even if they aren't what everyone else thinks. What it means is having the courage to go your own way, accept what makes you different, and live a life that truly shows who you are. But choosing to be independent doesn't mean turning down other people's help and company. Stoicism, on the other hand, teaches us how important it is to help each other and be part of a group. The important thing is to find a mix between having deep relationships with other people and being able to follow your own ideas and goals. Instead of partnerships that can constrain or define you, it's about developing those that accept your freedom and support your growth. To develop this sense of freedom, you need to think about yourself and be aware of your needs. It means looking at your beliefs, goals, and the reasons behind your behaviors on a daily basis. Are you going after something because it really interests you, or because you feel like you have to, because that's what society expects of you? It also means building perseverance, which means being able to deal with problems and failures without losing sight of your ideals or who you are. Imagine that even when life is rough, you can still be a calm harbor where no rough weather can get in. That's the power of forming insight, making your emotions unbeatable when bad things happen. This part, which is based on the 10 key principles of Stoicism, will show you how to keep yourself in a calm state so that nothing can upset your peace. Why is it different to not be able to control what's happening in the outside world and being able to control our thoughts? Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us." To be at peace with ourselves, we need to only think about the things we can control with our intelligence and determination. People can't always change what happens, but they can change how they think and feel about it. These lessons help you understand that virtue, not chasing short-lived wants, is what makes life worth living, and that decisions are what give objective events meaning. By going through bad times, weaknesses fade away, showing the free spirit of a person. When you live in balance with the universe's rules, you don't get in the way of truth. Keep these 10 Stoic principles in mind and let Epictetus's theory show you a new way. This way, you can learn to actively grasp the key to inner peace, no matter what is going on around you. First principle, set clear goals. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show a person's character, and the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." Skilled pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. This is not just a philosophical statement, it is a wake-up call. It seems like the world around you gets smaller when you know what your goals are. Huge problems become manageable steps. You can't lose the inner strength you find in this process. You don't just come up with a strong purpose. You work at it by taking the time to really think about what matters to you. Not only your professional or personal goals, but also the beliefs and values you want to live your life by. Once that reason is deeply ingrained in your heart, you need to work hard to keep it alive and growing. When things go wrong, your strength comes from sticking with your goals and not giving up. A clear goal is like a lighthouse at night. It can help you find your way and keep your soul stable. Having a clear reason in life is like having a life net that keeps you from falling into the sea of feelings and hard situations. In the end, having clear goals isn't just good advice. It's the key to mental strength that can't be matched and the power to face and beat any task. This is the core of Stoic philosophy, not just a set of rules for life, but also proof of how strong will and a clear goal can be. If you think about it this way, nothing is impossible and nothing can break your strong spirit. Would you give a stranger your body? Is the second principle. Imagine that you would never even think about giving someone you don't know and trust power of your body. Then why do we let stray thoughts and false words take over our minds so easily? When we let other people's views change us, we give up control of our own happiness and peace to strangers. Mind control is an art, not just a skill. It's normal to feel upset and want to get back at someone who has hurt us. Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us that our feelings come from the way we think and see things. In other words, we can choose how to act in any setting. Consider it a chance to improve patience and self-awareness, to develop discipline and self-control rather than letting anger consume us. To boost your confidence, start with small daily goals and make sure you reach them every day. Focus on being in the present moment and getting to know your feelings better. You can choose how to respond to any situation. As you become more aware of this, you will become more able to handle problems and stop letting bad feelings affect you. Imagine a cook who works hard every day to get better and doesn't care if they get too much praise or criticism. The cook doesn't let what other people say affect their work or their energy. With patience and self-control, the cook not only gets better at baking, but they also find real freedom and inner peace, and they can handle critiques with grace. Stoicism isn't just a school of thought, it's also a powerful way to deal with and get past the problems we face every day. We can find real peace and freedom in a world that is often unstable and unsure if we learn to control our thoughts and feelings like adults. We can't avoid being talked about and judged by other people. But have you ever thought about whether the weight of hurtful words really defines you, or whether your strength and inner peace are what make you who you are. Take a deep breath, and let's look at the next concept together. This story isn't just about how to deal with mean words, it's also about how to free your soul. Third principle: if someone criticizes you, respond positively. Epictetus said that we can't change other people's thoughts or deeds, but we can change how we respond to them. These days, this means understanding that everyone has their own ideas and beliefs, and they might not always agree with us or act the way we expect them to. Like what Jesus said, "Love your enemies," we are told to be gentle and open-minded with different points of view, even if they are different from our own. We need to have a deep and true understanding of ourselves so that the things other people say don't bother us. This means having a strong trust in our ideals and standards, and having a clear understanding of why we do the things we do. Negative things people say don't matter when you're sure of the road you've chosen and why you've chosen it. Lastly, we need to learn to be patient and kind so that we can handle insults and arguments without letting them get to us. Being patient helps us stay cool and not respond quickly or badly, and being gentle helps us keep good relationships with other people even when they don't agree with us. Stories of saints and athletes who dealt with harm and insults with patience and kindness while staying true to their path can help us understand this. When we work on growing as people and being strong in the face of problems, we not only make our own lives better, but we also inspire those around us. Remember that real power doesn't come from being able to change what other people say or think about us. It comes from being able to change how those things affect us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you've dealt with bad words from other people and how you've used Stoic principles. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Your story could give other people hope and strength. Fourth principle: insult and anger. Epictetus said in a firm and wise voice, "What really scares and disturbs us is not external events themselves, but the way we think about them." This means that when someone hurts you, it's not their words that hurt you, but how you perceive and react to those words that affects your soul. Imagine that you give your view in a meeting and a coworker strongly disagrees with it. You don't respond immediately. Instead, you stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this a chance for me to look at this issue from a different angle? This helps you stay calm and grow your viewpoint. Or, when you're talking with a close friend and all of a sudden they criticize you for a personal choice, you don't feel hurt. Instead, you think about what they said. You might find that even though they didn't say it perfectly, their real goal was to make you think about your decisions in a new way. Stoicism teaches us to have the courage to find light in the dark. We learn not only how to deal with being hurt or offended, but also how to use these things to grow as people through this lesson. How you deal with them is very important. Stoicism says that you can't be strong by avoiding problems. Instead, you need to know how to face them and get through them. Always keep in mind that every task is a chance to get stronger and more durable. There are many problems in life that make us feel afraid and ashamed. The question is, how to get past them? How can we keep these events from deciding how valuable we are? In his theory, Epictetus wrote a lot about this topic. He said that what makes us afraid and ashamed is not what is happening around us, but how we react to it. Fear and shame are the fifth principle. Have you ever felt like you were locked up in a glass cage by fear and shame? Some of us do things we don't want to, just to be liked or get a little praise on social media. But Epictetus, who was wise beyond his years, saw a simple but deep truth. We are the ones who give every event meaning, which makes us feel fear and shame. Stoicism tells us to accept our feelings with courage and self-control instead of rejecting them. When we get over our fears and feelings of shame, we are no longer bound by what other people say and look like. Every breath and choice we make every day is a journey back to ourselves, a search for the worth and meaning of life. Epictetus says that the key to happiness is not in the outside world, but in each person's mind. Fear and shame can come in when we base our sense of self-worth on things we can't change. On the other hand, we find unmatched peace and strength when we focus on self-improvement, knowledge, and spiritual freedom. In Epictetus's Stoic philosophy, fear and shame are not only a way to learn how to deal with problems, but also a warning to live a worthwhile life where fear and shame don't get in the way of your happiness and freedom. Because when we face our fears and get through them, we not only free ourselves, but also inspire those around us. The sixth principle is to plan ahead. At its core, the Stoic concept of expecting problems pushes people to take charge of their lives instead of complaining about them. Epictetus says that imagining the problems we might face along the way helps us get ready to deal with them in a calm and thoughtful way. This lesson on mental training is not a call to be negative. Instead, it is a way to build resolve and give the mind the tools it needs to handle any situation. Think about the story of a marathon runner who is getting ready for a race. She knows the concept of predicting hurdles and thinks about problems that might come up, like bad weather, illness, or personal obligations that come up out of the blue and cause her to miss training. She doesn't worry about these chances. Instead, she plans for them by changing her training schedule, getting ready for different weather, and setting aside time to rest and heal. When it suddenly starts to rain on race day, she stays cool because she has emotionally and physically prepared for it. The fact that she planned for and anticipated what could have been a problem makes the race proof of her strength and drive. Seeing problems coming helps our feelings and our minds work together, which teaches us to deal with life's unknowns with a calm mind. Emotionally, it makes us feel ready and confident, and rationally, it improves our ability to solve problems by making us think ahead and make plans for the future. We can handle the ups and downs of life with a calm heart and a clear mind when we have this balance. Don't consent to be hurt, and you won't be hurt, Epictetus said. This is a choice you can make. The real power is in how we choose to act in every situation, he taught. This point of view gives us freedom by giving us a new way to think about how we deal with problems and pain in our lives. Nobody can hurt you, according to Principle 7. Imagine that a friend you trust is giving you harsh feedback. The first emotion that comes up might be sadness and deception. But Stoicism teaches us that even though this is a normal first response, you have full control over how it affects your feelings and actions afterward. The question now is how to use this idea in our daily lives. Freedom to choose is the first thing. When someone criticizes or hurts you, remember that you can choose how to react. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means being aware of them and taking control of them. The second is looking for strength inside. Peace and confidence don't come from avoiding all pain. They come from knowing you can get through anything. In Christianity, hope and prayer are often ways to find this kind of strength. Forgiveness comes in third. We are called to forgive others, just like Jesus did when someone hurt him. This not only helps us carry less, but it also makes it easier to get along and love each other. Remember that this is not a call to ignore or not care about problems. Instead, it's a lesson that we have the power and freedom to choose how to deal with them, and it's an invitation to find peace and courage through faith. We get closer to true freedom and inner peace when we use this concept in all parts of our lives, not just when things are hard. Principle number 8, holding back what you want to do. Epictetus thought that acting with self-control was not only a way to be independent, but also a key way to find inner peace and spiritual strength. This doesn't mean that all actions or reactions are bad. It means picking actions based on logic instead of feeling. Imagine that you're in a very important meeting when all of a sudden a co-worker strongly disagrees with your ideas and even criticizes you. At first, you might feel angry, let down, or even like you want to react strongly. However, Epictetus says that now is the time to use the lesson of self-control. Instead of letting your feelings take over, you take a deep breath and tell yourself that getting angry or violent won't help. You choose to accept that view logically, think about it objectively, and even react in a helpful way. This shows respect and makes it possible for discussion instead of strife. Being careful with our words and actions not only keeps bad things from happening, but it also shows that we are mature and smart. Epictetus says that real strength is being able to control oneself in any situation, even when people think that acting quickly and strongly is a sign of strength. How can we use what we've learned? The first thing is identifying feelings. When your feelings start to rise, be aware of them and accept them without reacting right away. The second is to wait before you move. Before you do or say anything, take a moment to think about it. Third is self-questioning. What you do or say is based on reason. Will it lead to good things? Fourth, act mindfully. Don't just respond right away. Choose an action that shows you have a deep knowledge of the scenario. By controlling our actions, we not only keep our feelings in check, but we also face and get through problems in a calm and effective way. This not only makes our lives better, but it also helps us become the best versions of ourselves, strong and steady, even when life gets rough. The power of acceptance is the ninth principle. Imagine that you're on a long trip and all of a sudden realize that you're lost. You could feel upset, angry, and worried. But if you use Principle 9, the power of acceptance, you can calmly look at what's going on and accept that you're lost. You know that being angry or worried won't change the way things are now. Once you accept the situation, you can start looking for ways to fix it by using a map, asking someone for directions, or your GPS. Realizing that you can choose how to deal with things instead of letting bad feelings take over is very important. You can work on holding on to the power of acceptance in these 5 ways. When you're having a hard time, recognize and accept your feelings. Just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Realizing that you are angry, sad, or scared is the first step to accepting what's going on. Reading and thinking about. Try to figure out what the problem is really about, and think carefully about what you can change and what you can't. Instead of focused on the things you can't change, change your attention to the good things you can do. Acceptance is not giving up. It's the start of doing something useful. Find reason and learn. Every problem is a chance to learn something. Learn something from every situation and use it to make yourself better. Remember that there is always something to be thankful for, so be glad no matter what. Being thankful keeps our minds healthy and helps us see the light in the dark. When you use the power of acceptance, you not only learn how to deal with problems, but you also find happiness and peace in your daily life. This is one of the most important things Epictetus told us about the Stoic idea of life. Epictetus said that humans are born with the ability and duty to live in balance with nature, both the nature around them and the nature inside them, which is who they really are. It's important to know and accept our place in the world, believe that everything happens for a reason, and learn how to find happiness and peace while working with the rules that nature has set. Living in accordance with nature is principle number 10. Epictetus thought that the best way to live a happy, useful life was to be in balance with nature. He meant both the nature around us and the nature inside us, which is what makes us unique. Living in balance with nature, according to Epictetus, not only brings happiness, but it also helps us reach our full potential. To live by the natural rules, we need to know that everything that happens in our lives has a reason for being there, and we need to be able to accept it without getting upset. To stop being affected by life's ups and downs, we need to train our thoughts to see things clearly and accept what is happening. Giving up or not caring doesn't mean this. Instead, it means learning to accept and be happy with the limits that nature sets. From a Stoic point of view, happiness is not about seeking joys or things from the outside world. Instead, it is about finding peace and satisfaction in simple things by living a thoughtful, self-aware life with our true character. Stoicism says that following the natural rules is not only a way to deal with life's problems, but also a way to find real freedom and happiness. When we follow these rules in our daily lives, we not only find inner peace, but we also become immune to the ups and downs of life. Have you ever met someone who just draws people to them without trying? You may have liked how easily they earn respect and admiration if you have. Surprisingly, you might also have some of these attractive traits. Some people have charm that seems to come easily, while others have worked hard to develop it. The appeal of magnetic personalities in the world of Stoicism comes from the alignment of certain character traits with the Stoic philosophy's tenets of knowledge, courage, justice, and temperance, not just from their physical attractiveness or surface charm. Stoicism says that real attraction comes from within and is based on developing good traits that go beyond how someone looks. Let's look at 11 important personality traits that make people magnetic. I'm pretty sure that at least one or two of these traits are already inside you, just waiting to be found and developed. Realizing and knowing the specific personality traits that make you magnetic can help you grow as a person and make you better, even if you are not aware of it. In spite of the fact that you don't meet traditional standards of beauty, you have the power to light up any room, make bonds easily, and bring joy to exchanges with other people. Authenticity is number one. Being a part player makes it hard to connect with people or have an impact. To understand the appeal of magnetic characters and to be silent, you have to follow this basic rule. Stoicism says that we should accept ourselves as we are and control how we respond to outside events. We should stay true to who we are no matter what life throws at us. Just think about those people whose traits are magnetic. They're not acting. If they're interested, thrilled, or even angry, it's because they really feel those things. Because they don't lie about how they feel, they are very convincing and reliable. Everyone can feel how real they are, which makes their impact very strong. Being real doesn't just affect other people. It also sets a strong standard. It gives people the courage to be more real in their relationships and to drop their masks. Consider Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, who is known and admired not only for his power, but also for his dedication to leading a life of virtue and honesty. He showed that even when someone had a lot of power, they could still be honest and do what they said they would do. People who are magnetic don't have any secret goals. They are honest and open, which makes them a great model for everyone else. People respect their impact a lot because it comes from truth. In the same way that Stoicism tells us to face life with honesty and strength, they teach us to be true to ourselves and accept our real feelings. Being authentic doesn't just mean being honest with other people. It also means being honest with ourselves, facing our truths without masks, and handling our lives and feelings with calm composure. To build trust, real connections, and a happier life overall, we must do these things. Funny bone is number 2. There is something about people who naturally draw others that makes them stand out. They can use fun in a way that makes others feel good. Humor that makes everyone feel good without being annoying is what this is all about, not just making jokes. Now, one of the most important lessons in Stoicism is to focus on what we can control and to handle life's problems with virtue and calmness. This attitude is shown by the way magnetic people handle fun. They know that jokes can either bring people together or tear them apart. Also, they know that laughter is a strong way to connect with others. These charming people stay away from humor that makes fun of other people's flaws, criticizes them badly, or makes fun of their own mistakes. Why? Because that kind of humor tends to push people away and make them feel bad instead of better. They choose a style of humor that is funny for everyone and never makes fun of other people. This is very much in line with Stoic ideas, which stress the value of moral honesty over cheap laughs and respecting oneself and others. Think about how a truly magnetic person can walk into a room and make everyone laugh with just a few well-chosen words. Not only are they funny, but they also know how to use humor to make people feel better, close gaps between them, and quickly connect with each other. It's about making joyful moments that bring people together instead of putting them apart. Think about a leader who uses humor to bring attention to a problem that everyone is facing without picking on anyone in particular, or a friend who tells a funny story with a lesson for everyone instead of a joke about someone else. When these things happen, they bring the group closer together and make them more magnetic. So, the next time you're having a chat, going to a meeting, or even just hanging out with friends, pay attention to how humor is used. Have a look at how the most loved and respected people often use their sense of humor to strengthen their relationships with others instead of attacking them. Not only are they good at making other people laugh without breaking rules of respect, but they also have a deep life strategy that fits with Stoic knowledge. Isn't it interesting how old philosophical ideas still apply to how we deal with each other today? What about you? Have you ever encountered someone with truly magnetic humor? How did you feel after seeing them? Let's write something below. Third, let your ideas run wild. Those with this kind of magnetic charm often think of new ideas. Their ability to see things from different points of view is what makes them so interesting. It's not just that they're different. They have a deep-seated ability to think in different ways that lets them look at every possible answer to a problem. Stoic philosophy, which says to look at life's problems from different points of view, to understand them better and stay calm in tough situations, supports this kind of adaptation. Take the case of an attractive project leader as an example. Instead of just pushing their own ideas, they actively seek out and support other people in the group to have different ones as well. This openness makes them more appealing. They pay attention, think about it, and change. One sign of their free mind is that they can understand new ideas and add them to plans or dreams without any bias. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to be open to change and how important it is to understand what others are saying. People who have a free mind clearly live by this principle. These people don't self-censor because they have a free mind. They aren't afraid of being criticized or not sure if what they have to offer is worth it. They easily share their thoughts, which makes the space a place where creation is valued over criticism. This part of their nature not only makes them good team players, but also great role models. They make it safe for others to share their own thoughts and ideas, which is very important for the success of the group as a whole. So, letting your thoughts run wild can make your magnetic qualities much stronger. It helps you handle life's challenges with ease and grace, like the Stoics who learned how to stay calm inside even when things were going crazy around them. You can improve your ability to connect with others and lead with energy by choosing this way of thinking. Let's try to bring out this creative, magnetic spirit in ourselves. Being charming isn't enough. We need to improve the way we connect with each other and see life and all of its opportunities in a better, more creative way. 4. A healthy sense of hope. People who have this trait are magnetic, but they aren't always cheerful. These people instead keep a reasonable view that is based on the principles of Stoicism. They know that life has both good and bad things that happen, and they accept both with peace. A healthy amount of positivity is present in people who are magnetic. Their cheerful attitude is never out of place or too much. They are always able to see the bright side of things without downplaying the real problems that come with bad times. This kind of happiness is real and thoughtful. It recognizes the problems, but chooses to focus on the good things that could happen. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the calm philosopher and Roman emperor who had to deal with a lot of problems during his rule. Even though he was in a tough job and the times were complicated, his works show a grounded positivity, a clear understanding of life's difficulties, and a focus on personal virtue and inner strength. And when it comes to the trope of seeing the glass as half full, these magnetic people really show how different their view is. They aren't interested in how much is in the glass. Instead, they care about how good what is there is. They are grateful for what little they have, and often place more value on the lessons and experiences life gives them than on the things it gives them. People who are magnetic and have a strong attitude don't just seem happy all the time. They also inspire and boost those around them by showing them how to enjoy all of life's experiences. Their fortitude and thoughtful positivity give us the courage to look beyond our problems and focus on the important things in life. Now, the next time you're facing a problem, see it as a chance to bring out your inner calm charm. Accept the situation with the knowledge to see it clearly and the hope to handle it with grace. Taking a fair view not only makes your own life better, but it also makes the lives of others better. Empathy is number 5. Why do we feel drawn to people who can understand how we feel? It's easy. People who are empathetic are great at connecting with others on a deeper level, not just on the surface, and really getting how others feel. This link is more than just feeling sorry for someone. It's about putting yourself in their place, feeling their emotions, and living in their world as if it were your own. This kind of deep understanding shows up in many ways. These people give a lot of their time and mental support to others. They are great friends through both the good and bad times of life. Think about the friend who knows exactly when to listen and can sit with you in quiet or say something to make you feel better without judging you. This friend might notice that you're stressed and say, "It looks like you're carrying a lot right now. Would you like to talk about it?" This kind of helpful contact is magnetic because it makes room for real emotional exchange. Also, people who are sensitive are often great at giving help that hits home for you. The fact that they can tailor their advice to the wants of the person they're helping makes their ideas very useful and valued. When you're stoic, showing empathy isn't just about being emotionally smart. It's a moral virtue that makes you more honest and helps people get along. Stoics try to understand others without judging them or being biased by their emotions. This not only makes them better people, but it also makes the community more caring. So, if you want to increase your magnetic pull, try developing your empathy. Listen more, confirm how someone feels, and offer a lot of mental support. These caring actions will not only make you more appealing to the people around you, but they will also help you connect with them more deeply, making your relationships more important and satisfying. Let's use empathy as a silent virtue as well as a social skill. It will make our lives and the lives of those around us better. 6th, being sincere and telling the truth. Thought of a lie as a poison. It can seriously hurt or even kill trust and the tie between two people in a relationship. Individuals with a magnetic personality know very well how harmful lying is. They are very careful not to tell lies, as if they were trying to avoid a deadly plague. It doesn't matter how long or deep their relationships are. These people always promise to be honest and open. Think about someone who is magnetic as an example. This person would never think about telling lies to trick other people. They know that lies can hurt people deeply, so they always make sure that their goals, values, and views are clear from the start. These magnetic people never conceal their true feelings or thoughts because they are truthful. They will tell you the truth if you ask them what's on their mind, even if it's not what you want to hear. This doesn't mean, though, that they talk about every part of their lives. They don't have to tell you everything just because they promise to be honest. They are smart about what they share, keeping a balance between being open and protecting their own privacy. Additionally, these people's magnetic quality isn't just about not lying. It's also about living an honest life. They are honest not just in words, but in everything they do. They don't put on a show when they talk to others, which helps them connect with others more deeply. Being honest and open makes people want to be around them because it builds trust and respect. Like Stoics, these magnetic people also try to separate themselves from how other people react to how honest they are. These people know that they can only control what they do and say, but not what other people do or say. This cold-hearted way of thinking helps them stay strong and true to their beliefs, even when things get tough. Consider adopting the Stoic virtue of truth if you want to develop a more magnetic personality. It's not enough to avoid lying. You have to be deeply honest with yourself and others so that you can build relationships based on trust and respect. It means being someone who others can count on to always be there for them, no matter what. Isn't that the kind of person we all want to be in the end? The seventh trait is being thoughtful and kind. People who are magnetic care about the well-being of others more than their own. Their popularity comes mostly from how kind and thoughtful they are to people around them, whether they are co-workers, friends, or family. They are different because they really want to make other people's lives better. Stoicism shows us how important virtue is and how to live a life that is in line with virtues like balance, justice, knowledge, and courage. These ideas are shown by magnetic people in the way they act every day. Not only do they care about their own health, but they also really want to make the world a better place for everyone. This fits well with the Stoic idea that people should focus on what they can control and make moral decisions that help everyone. For instance, someone who notices that a new team member is feeling stressed and offers to help them understand a complicated project or split up some of their work to make it easier. Or think of a friend who always makes time to listen to your problems and give you good advice, even though they are also very busy. These people want to be the ones who bring about change in places that may feel toxic or useless. However, they don't just put up with negativity. Instead, they work to make these places more positive. One way to do this is to be a constant source of kindness and respect, encourage open conversation, or push people to work together. Also, everyone isn't perfect. Even the most magnetic people occasionally act inappropriately or make mistakes. But what really makes them remarkable is that they are willing to admit when they are wrong. Quick and heartfelt apologies and attempts to make things right show that the person is mature enough to admit they make mistakes and wants to improve themselves. Take a moment to understand that people with these magnetic traits are not just doing what they're doing because they want to, but because they are strongly affected by a philosophy that cares about the well-being of the community as a whole. Their actions make us want to develop similar traits in ourselves, which makes our lives fuller and more linked. Isn't it amazing how ancient knowledge and simple kindness can come together to make people so magnetic? I think we should all try to live by these beliefs, which will make every contact more important and helpful. Number 8, motivates other people. People who are magnetic often live examples of healthy attitudes and behaviors. They don't have to say anything loud to influence others. Their quiet, steady approach to life's ups and downs is enough. Think of a co-worker or guide whose strength and calmness make you want to face your own problems with more courage and less worry. They don't just get through their paths, they help you get through yours better. These amazing people are great at giving support, advice, and drive. They do this not by forcing their will on others, but by being a kind of quiet partner. Think of a teacher who makes you feel good about yourself by letting you learn and grow at your own pace instead of correcting you all the time. They really think that everyone is good inside and has room to grow. This belief is both inspiring and contagious. They inspire others in a kind and soft way, which is similar to the Stoic idea that we should focus on what we can control, like our own thoughts and actions, and let go of what we can't. This method doesn't force people to do something. Instead, it draws them in and encourages them to improve themselves and think about their lives. People are encouraged to look inside themselves and find out how much patience, persistence, and virtue they have. When you're around these kinds of people, you feel like you can accept your own positive and growing potential. Their unwavering confidence that everyone can get better is contagious, similar to the Stoic focus on personal virtue and living an honest life. Their way of life shows us that if we work on our inner strengths and ideals, we can not only live happier lives, but also become examples for others to follow. These magnetic Stoic figures serve as a constant reminder that the strength of our character, not the volume of our words, determines how we affect others. We can empower those around us in deep and permanent ways by developing traits like toughness, knowledge, and moral honesty. Do not forget to value the unique impact of someone who gives off this kind of quiet, strong energy the next time you meet them. They show how growing and showing our virtues can not only make our own lives better, but also help others find their way. Isn't that a great kind of person to try to become? 9. Having a lot of faith in yourself. Imagine meeting someone who seems to have an air that makes it impossible not to be drawn to them. These people have a strong sense of self-confidence that comes through in every exchange. But what makes them different? With a strong belief in their own worth, they have a magnetic personality that can't be shaken, even when things go wrong. This confidence doesn't come from outside approval. It comes from within and is based on the old knowledge of Stoicism. Stoicism says that real strength comes from controlling your own thoughts and feelings instead of looking for approval from other people. People who are magnetic fully reflect this idea. They have unshakable faith in themselves because they know how valuable they are and won't let other people's opinions change their minds. Think about the friend who doesn't get upset when things go wrong and sees them as obstacles to be overcome, but as steps on the way to success. They are happy to hear comments because they know it can help them grow as people and as professionals. They don't fear being turned down. Instead, they see it as a normal part of the trip and know that it's through hard times that true resiliency is built. Also, magnetic people don't just put up with feedback. They love it. They know that feedback, good or bad, is a gift that can help them grow as people. Instead of letting negativity get them down, they use it to push themselves forward and keep trying to get better. What really makes these people special, though, is their unshakable confidence and strength, which can inspire others. As lights of strength and happiness, they draw others to them like ants to a flame. They have a magnetic personality that makes an impact on everyone they meet, whether it's at work, in social situations, or in personal relationships. Having a magnetic personality isn't just about being good-looking or having a lot of skills. It's also about living by the ancient principles of Stoicism, building up your inner strength and resilience, and encouraging others to do the same. So, the next time you meet someone who has that undeniable charm, keep in mind that real attraction comes from within. 10th, clear and easy to understand. People who are magnetic have a certain kind of fluency that comes through in both what they say and how they say it. They are great at communicating because they understand the subtleties of tone and time, which is important when helping a friend in need, energizing a coworker, or being honest about how they feel. It's not always because they love public speaking that they can get their points across clearly. In fact, a lot of magnetic people might not like being in the spotlight or even have problems, like speech problems. This is interesting. When these magnetic people face these kinds of problems, they don't see them as failures. Instead, they use these problems to make themselves more relatable and easy to talk to. Think about a boss who stutters but always manages to motivate their staff, or a friend who has trouble putting things into words but always makes you feel like they get it. These people show us that it's not about having perfect speech, but about being honest and caring when we talk to each other. Stoicism tells us to focus on what we can control and accept what we can't. What's really interesting is how this fits in with those ideas. A person with a reserved personality pushes others to see their communication problems not as flaws in themselves, but as chances to connect with others in a more genuine way. They are even more magnetic because of this view, which enables them to stay cool and controlled. Even if they don't always enjoy public speaking, magnetic people use their problems with communication to their advantage, which makes their relationships more real and important. Other people are drawn to them because they are real. Even though they make mistakes, the way they handle talks with care and purpose shows a calm knowledge that hits home with those around them. As you go about your day, remember that being magnetic isn't about having perfect speech, but about being able to get your thoughts and feelings across clearly, no matter what. This strategy not only makes people like you, but it also gives you the strength to continue on your own tough path to self-mastery and grit. 11th, well-versed and intelligent. A growth attitude is something that a lot of people with magnetic personalities have. This idea is very important to Stoicism. It means seeing life as a never-ending chance to learn and grow as a person. They're not just interested in basic facts. They're highly interested in the subtleties of how people connect with each other, the intricacies of how societies work, and how current events play out. Think about someone who tries to understand another person's culture and personal past. Don't do this just because you're interested. It's an attempt to connect with them and understand them better. Or think of someone who studies psychology or sociology. They're not just learning for the sake of learning. They're also trying to figure out how these forces affect how people act and how society works. Furthermore, in a truly serious way, these people put what they know to use. Stoicism says that virtue and knowledge are the most important parts of a good life, and that knowing more about the world makes it easier to interact with it in a thoughtful and useful way. They then use what they've learned in their contacts, which helps them build stronger relationships and make good contributions to their communities. They have discussions that are not only thought-provoking, but also helpful, giving different points of view that make you think and give you courage to grow. People with magnetic personalities go beyond just being intellectuals when they take this view of knowledge. They become change makers, inspiring others with their insights and deep conversations. Their ability to apply what they know to everyday situations makes them very influential and looked up to in their groups. It takes more than just being educated to embrace this magnetic quality of being well-versed and aware. It takes using that education to live a life that is more involved, compassionate, and in line with Stoic values. Building connections that last and knowledge that goes beyond the surface level are what it's all about. In the end, this makes their characters not only magnetic, but also very powerful. At the end of the day, attraction isn't a hard-to-find trait that only a few lucky people have. Anyone can develop and improve this trait. When we work on developing certain ideals and traits, other people are naturally drawn to us. People are pulled to us and look forward to spending time with us because we give off an air of real value and ease. Let's start a journey to live our daily lives by the 5 rules of Stoicism. When we recognize our own worth and see each challenge as a chance to grow as a person, we open the door to an engaging charm that is uniquely our own. This journey of self-discovery and growth is not only important, but also rewarding, and I can't wait to go on it with you. Let's create an atmosphere where our inner strength acts as the strongest magnet, drawing in good things and important relationships. It's important to remember that what we do and say may not stick with people forever, but how we make them feel will. Which of these magnetic traits do you already have, and which ones do you want to improve? Ever think that the way someone smiles and greets you every day might be a way for them to hide how much they dislike you? Stupid thinker Marcus Aurelius said that people are born to work together, like hands and feet. In real life, though, people often stand against each other like they don't know each other. Our relationships would be full of love and support for each other if everything were perfect. Unrest and wars would be far away, and people would be able to connect with each other to make things easy. In real life, though, things don't always work that way. There are real people who don't like you or feel safe around you for whatever reason, and you can't change this. Being able to deal with and move on from things like being turned down and angry may be a sign of true friendship and love. Even if someone seems nice, these 13 things are sure signs that they might not really like you. If you watch the whole movie, you will learn things that you can't learn anywhere else. Let's start. Number 1. They don't care about you. Sometimes, big or deep words aren't needed to connect two souls. Have you ever had a boring talk with your best friend about something as dull as a favorite piece of cake or the strange shapes of the stars? It's great to know that someone wants to share every moment with you, no matter how big or small. On the other hand, when someone doesn't want to connect with us, we can tell by the way they act. It's important not to think about sadness or self-doubt when you're trying to start a talk. Instead, you should know that not all relationships are open and easy. Silence and dawn can sometimes mean that you need time and room to think and re-evaluate. Now is not the right time to try to meet. Instead, know and accept that each person needs space. The first step to a stronger relationship is to honor that room. This version really gets to the heart of Stoicism by showing how important it is to know and accept your own limits, as well as how important it is to respect each other's limits in order to have better relationships. Accepting what we can't change and focusing on personal growth and real relationships are serious ideas that fit with this. Being sad because you feel like no one cares about you can be good. We all want to feel like the people around us care about and notice us. But remember that people's actions and responses are often shaped by many things, like how they feel, what they've been through, and their goals. Here are some things to think about if you feel like no one cares about you. Being self-reflective means to think about what you did and how you led your life. Do you have any trends or habits that might change how other people see you? Sometimes, small changes in the way we talk to people can make a big difference in how they respond. Being clear and honest with each other is important if you want to keep your friendship going. You could talk to someone about how you feel without getting sexual if you think they don't care about you. They might not even be aware of how their actions affect you. Put yourself in the other person's shoes to try to understand what they're going through. There's a chance that they don't seem interested because they are busy or worried about something else. You can connect with someone more deeply if you understand how they feel. There are limits. It's important to know when you need to set boundaries in a relationship. Some people may not want to connect with you even if you try to talk to them. This could mean that the relationship isn't healthy or good for both of you. Don't think about people who don't seem to care about you. Instead, focus on the people you do care about. Build connections with people who like and accept you for who you are. Being around kind and helpful people can help you deal with people who don't care about you. Mind you, everyone has times when they feel forgotten or not important. But remember to keep things in perspective and not let your thoughts control what you do or how you feel. There's a lot of value in investing in relationships and things that make you happy. 2. Not trusting others. The act of sharing and being open on the path that ends human relationships shows the sensitivity that forms the bedrock of the profound relationship between souls. When you let someone be vulnerable and respond to them, you build a strong relationship that goes beyond doubt and fear. But in a world where faith is important, it's not always easy to build and keep a product. There are times when it's hard for you to be open and honest. People around you stay away from you as if an unseen wall of distrust and suspicion had been built. This is especially true if you don't trust other people and they are worried about how well you connect with them. It's clear if you have questions, and you can even tell what your goals are. They don't want to hurt anyone, they just don't want to fully accept. This could be upsetting and depressing, especially after putting so much heart and work into making a bridge. Now, though, it's time to understand how important patience and persistence are. You can't force someone to believe in you, but simple actions that matter can give them strength. In a relationship, building and keeping trust is a process, not a goal. When you accept and understand something, you can open doors that don't seem possible at first. Being open and honest shows that you are brave and strong, and it can also help you break down the wall of doubt and build a real, long-lasting relationship. This reading of uses Stoic ideas to stress how important it is to accept things you don't understand. Over time, faith will grow on its own. To be Stoic means to focus on inner virtue, staying strong even when things go wrong, and building strong relationships through honesty and persistence. There are times when not trusting someone is very bad in relationships, at work, and even in the way society is set up. Here are some things that have to do with this problem. Getting along with other people. When you trust someone, you can trust them back. A lack of trust can cause people to dislike, fear, and fight with each other. If someone has betrayed you in the past, had trouble speaking, or has different views, they may not trust them. In business settings, it's important to trust each other if you want to work together, finish tasks, and enjoy your job. It can be hard for employees to work together, share ideas, and help the company succeed if they don't trust their bosses or co-workers. People might not trust you because you control, lie, or aren't honest about how decisions are made, how society is put together. People need to trust each other for society to work well. People need to trust their government, the judges, and their friends in order for society to stay stable and cohesive. When people lose faith in these groups because of wrongdoing, corruption, or differences in society, it can lead to chaos, separation, and the end of social order. Getting trust back. You have to work at it and do the same things over and over to regain trust. Everything that is being done must be open, honest, and responsible on all sides. There are many times when clear communication, setting clear goals, and showing that you can be trusted can help rebuild trust. Not being able to trust someone can also hurt their mental health by making them worry, stress, and feel alone. Over and over, lying to or betraying someone can hurt their trust in others and themselves. This can make it hard for them to form real ties or take smart risks. As long as people can talk about it, show that they understand, and want to know why it's happening, they can trust each other. It is possible to rebuild trust, but everyone has to work at it. To do this, you can go to therapy, mediate, or say and do sorry. Point 3. Shown through body language. Body language is like soft tones that blend together to make an orchestra of connections in the world of people. There are clear signs everywhere, And the silence between two people isn't just a mumbled chatter. A quiet voice speaks of strong emotions. Music helps love and care grow while people share what they know. We naturally want to hide the space between our eyes and put ourselves where our feet are, braiding our arms to invite others into our own world. But, just like the moon always has a dark side, people hide the shadow of being rejected and far away from each other. The guarded fortress with closed gates body language seems to say, "I don't want to see you." People cross their arms and step back like shields, making it clear to stay away. As a basic defense, this is definitely something that people do to keep bad things from happening. This could mean that they need their own room, or that they are tired or don't trust other people. But these signals can also come from mistakes or short-term feelings. They are still important signs that we need to pay attention to as we learn, know, and understand the world around us. Learning what your body language means is the first thing that you need to do to fix relationship problems. How to really deal with a difficult life, how to connect with others, and how to read and understand their quiet signs. This not only keeps us from unnecessary pain, but it also teaches us how to be honest and open about our feelings. Body language includes how someone stands, moves, and makes facial reactions and gestures that show how they feel, what they want, and what they are thinking. You can say a lot about how you feel and what you think without words. Here are some common types of body language and how to read them. The way the face looks. If you smile, it means you're pleased, friendly, or agree. You frown when you're sad, angry, or don't agree with something. If you raise your eyebrows, it means you're not sure about something. Eyes that are crowded together show doubt or anger. The way you look at someone shows that you are interested, sure of yourself, or paying attention. Use your hands. You agree, understand, or want to encourage someone when you nod. If you shake your head, it means you don't agree, believe, or like something. A thumbs up means that you agree, like, or back something. You don't agree with or like something when you give it a thumbs down. You can show focus, direction, or attention by pointing. What you do. An open stance, like standing with your arms stretched out, lets people know you're ready to listen, sure of yourself, or friendly. If you cross your arms or legs, for example, you're showing that you are protective, uncomfortable, or not interested. If you lean forward, it means you are interested, involved, or paying attention. It means you're calm, bored, or doubtful if you lean backward. Slouching means you're tired, bored, or don't have any energy. Hand gestures. You can stress points, make things easier, or show excitement with your hands. Moves around. This behavior could mean that you are stressed, worried, or restless. If you tap your fingers or feet, it could mean that you are impatient, bored, or worried. Looking back. It's when you unintentionally copy someone else's attitude or body language to show that you understand or connect with them. Changing the weight. This could mean you feel uncomfortable, aren't sure what to do, or are ready to move. Body language can help you talk to people more clearly, get along with them better, and figure out what they want and how they're feeling. Still, remember that it can be hard to read body language properly because of variances in culture and between people. Number 4. Be firm when you talk. Imagine getting through the difficult maze of social relationships, where one of the most interesting things to watch is how people behave when they don't say anything. When working with someone you don't like as much, your responses can range from overt actions that make your displeasure clear to more subtle, hard to pin down emotions. A lot of people choose to criticize or insult someone directly to show how they feel. Other people hide their dislike behind social rules and expected behavior. They try to look like they get along by making sure their smiles are stiff and the words they use are carefully chosen. They act polite on the outside, but their behavior shows that they are thinking bad thoughts and are sometimes angry. They might not say it out loud, but a cold look, an unintentional praise, or even a long pause can show that they don't like something. It's not necessary to point out all the little ways that someone is unhappy. Understanding that every exchange, good or bad, hides a deeper message about the relationship between us and the other person is crucial. Not only does reading these behaviors keep us out of trouble, but it also helps us understand and maybe even heal the relationship's hidden wounds. There are times when being rude is necessary, but you should be smart about when you use it and respect other people. When you need to be clear, remember these things. Message made clear. Make sure that your point is brief and clear. What you say should not be vague or confusing. If you want to get your point across, be clear and to the point. Feeling sure. It's very important to be sure of yourself when you talk. You should be sure of what you're saying by the way you speak, move, and the words you choose. Making people believe in you can help you get their attention and make your point more clear. Being bold instead of hostile. That means you should stand up for your rights and be polite when you say what you feel and think. On the other hand, being pushy means being rude and mean to someone when you talk to them. Don't be mean or angry, just be strong, paying attention. You need to both say what you want to say and listen to what other people have to say in order to interact well. It's important to show that you understand and value what other people are saying before you talk. Before you make your case, think about what they have to say. Pick your fights. Being mean isn't always the best way to get your point across. To avoid getting into fights, you should only use strong language when you have to. It's only for important things like making your point, protecting your rights, or talking about things that are important. Keep your cool when things get tough. When things get tough, it's easy to let your emotions get the best of you and say mean things. But it's important to stay cool if you want to have a good talk. Have a moment to think before giving a strong answer, even when things are tough. Back up what you say with facts, proof, and arguments. This makes your points louder and your connection better. Having good evidence to back up what you say can help people see things your way and make your case stronger. Respect the limits of others. When you talk to someone, you should be honest, but you should also be aware of their views and boundaries. When other people have something to say, don't be rude or bossy. Treat them with respect and honor even if you don't agree with them. Think like the other person does when you talk to them and try to see things as they do. To talk to people in a more polite and helpful way, you can learn to understand how they feel. Always try to find answers that are good for everyone. Not only think about what's best for you, but also think about what's best for everyone else. Try to find things that everyone can agree on and make plans that work for everyone. Don't forget that being strong isn't the only way to talk to people well. It's about being polite, clear, and effective in what you say, while also being open to what other people have to say. To get better at having tough conversations, you need to work at it, know yourself, and be ready to keep improving. Impatience with you. The connections in our lives have an impact on everything we do, including our thoughts. Being patient and kind are like unseen threads that hold all relationships together and help us work through problems and differences. But when we're with someone who doesn't like us, those threads can easily break, letting us know a sad truth. Peace isn't always possible, as the constant fights and arguments that aren't based in facts show. They seem to be disappointed and angry by everything you say and do. Even when things seem calm, just being around you can make them feel bad. People around you are angry and unhappy all the time, and hatred and resentment are what people talk about. But there is more to this situation than meets the eye. It could be a chance to think about whether we are doing something that the other person doesn't like, or whether we just don't agree with them on some things. Not only does being disappointed all the time for no reason show that two people are not fit, but it also serves as a lesson of how important it is to respect each other and know when to step back and think about things on your own. Growing apart isn't always a sign of failure. Sometimes it's a sign of growing up and getting to know the other person better. Relationships aren't always easy or smooth in life, but difficulties teach us the importance of being patient, kind, and able to forgive. More importantly, we learn how to love ourselves by putting limits in place and keeping our hearts safe from harm. Not fully listening. Really listening is a skill that not everyone has. Because our hearts are pulled to someone, we give them our full attention and try to understand and feel everything they say. Some relationships, on the other hand, may have people who listen to you but only half-heartedly. Their minds may be elsewhere, making it seem like your words are echoing in the void. When the other person doesn't answer, it's clear that they don't care. By this, they mean they don't care about you or your relationship with them. Feeling like you're not being heard or respected can be very haunting. What's more, now is the time to think about your worth and this relationship's place in your life. Leaving a bad relationship where you don't feel respected can be the first step toward finding and building a real relationship. It's important to pick people who can give you more than just a few notes. People often think of hearing as something you do without doing anything, but it's actually something you do with focus, attention, and understanding. With all the things going on in the world, people don't always listen fully because their attention spans are getting shorter. People aren't fully listening when they don't fully connect with the speaker or understand their whole message. You might not understand each other, relationships might get tense, and chances to meet and grow might be missed. These days, phones that buzz with messages and social media posts all the time can make it hard to pay attention to important things, do other things, and avoid being sidetracked. It's simple to wander off during conversations. Most of the time, people think that doing more than one thing at once will help them get more done. But it can make it harder to listen. Having a lot on our plates at once makes it more likely that we will forget important things when we talk. What do beliefs and biases mean? There are things we already think and believe that can affect how we judge and understand what we read. People might not listen fully if they think they know what the other person is going to say, or if their views make it hard for them to understand what they are saying. We sometimes join a chat before the other person is done talking because we want to add something. When you answer quickly before fully knowing what the other person is saying, it can make everyone angry and confused. If we want to listen with understanding, we have to be willing to see things from the other person's point of view, even if we don't agree with them. People often don't listen fully when they don't understand or connect to what the speaker is saying. How to improve your hearing? Pay attention to what they're saying. Look them in the eye and use your words and body to show that you're interested. This is known as active listening. Do not talk over me. What you want to say should wait until the other person is done. Don't judge right now. Keep an open mind and wait to judge or guess until you fully understand what the other person is saying. If you're not sure about something, ask more questions. Do not be scared to ask for help. This shows you care about hearing what the other person has to say. Think about what you heard. Take a moment to think about what was said before you answer. This shows that you paid attention and thought about what they said. A common issue is called incomplete listening, which can make it hard to talk to people and hurt relationships. People who don't listen fully often make the following mistakes. If we work to improve our listening skills, we can connect with others more deeply, understand them better, and have more important relationships in our personal and professional lives. Seventh, they never go near you. There is agreement within a large network of relationships that seek and keep human relationships by doing important work that builds the grounds for personal and social growth. As a whole, we agree that this process doesn't always work out, especially when we meet people who aren't part of it. Even if you accept a sign at the last minute, it takes away from the fact that we are there to stop simple, obvious signs of rejection. Even though they may not live or work far away, all of them only allow cold emails or texts for direct contact. Texters do their best to stay away, and some even learn your plans so that they don't have to text you during lunch or a break when you both have to be in the same place. There are reasons not to go to meetings, as if they were trying to keep you away all the time. This shows not only their problems, but also a strong desire to connect in a deep way. Understands and accepts that not everyone finds comfort or happiness in your company. Self-discovery and growth are natural parts of the trip. They also give us a chance to think about the connections we want to build and how valuable and important they are. Being close to someone is not a good thing in this area, but some parts of life become more important than ever. 8th, don't show up to talks with you. Every time we hear the music of life, we all want to join the dance party where friends get together and remember old times. But for some, you want to be a faraway dream this year, a simple but deep memory. Deep pain in relationships is not a call to do important work. When you look around and see everyone else, you know that someone is purposely alone. You work for the family, are accepted into the circle of happiness, are alone, feel alone, and are slowly being left behind. Needs to be wise to accept this great truth because it is the right thing to do and clear signs that other people don't value us. Such events not only make us question our worth in the eyes of others, but they also give us the courage to question whether we really want to be a part of a group that doesn't value our presence. Getting left behind can make us feel rejected and also push us to find new relationships where we can find our place in the social world. You are loved and welcome. Remember that your worth isn't based on how many offers you get, but on how happy you are and how many real relationships you choose to build. It's not worth it to spend your whole life alone. Find the good things about your friends that make you feel loved too. 9. They don't want to understand you. Being known is more than just a wish for people who want to connect and understand each other. It's the strong base of all interactions that last. But when you have to deal with dislike and agreement, the dream of understanding and acceptance can turn into a lonely journey and an endless fight inside your head. One very clear sign of this is when someone doesn't try to understand you or care about the things you believe in. We're not just fighting for respect, we're also fighting to keep our faith in ourselves. Even though it can be hard to fight alone, it's important to remember that our real strength comes from knowing and loving ourselves. Being sure of our worth and importance shines a light through the darkness of confusion, opening the door to real deep connections where knowledge is no longer required. Have you ever felt like the other person didn't want to understand what you were saying, no matter how hard you tried? As annoying as it is, a lot of us will go through it at some point in our lives. Things like this happen for a reason, and this lesson will teach you how to deal with them well, how to understand the signs. Someone clearly doesn't want to understand you. Sometimes they might talk over you all the time, not pay attention to what you have to say, or just refuse to talk to you at all. Though they may nod or agree, their body language or comments can sometimes make it less clear that they aren't really interested or understanding. Finding out the reasons. When it comes to making choices and understanding other points of view, we all have views, biases, and ideas that we already have. Fear can play a big role too. There are people who might not want to hear your point of view because they think it will make them question their own ideas or force them to change. Language barriers, confusion caused by society, or differences in the way people think can also make it hard to understand. Ways to deal with things. Don't lose your cool. It's not helpful to get mad or upset because it makes things worse and makes it harder to understand each other. It's important to listen actively. People may listen to you more if you show them that you're listening. even if they're not listening back. Show that you understand. If you don't agree with someone, try to understand and accept their point of view. Don't give up and keep trying. Do not give up too soon. Things may not get better right away, or the other person may change their mind. If you can't seem to solve the issue, you might want to try mediation or getting a third party to help. Being able to give up. Sometimes it's clear that the other person doesn't want to understand you, even if you try really hard. You need to know when to take a step back. During these times, getting into fights that don't go anywhere or trying to get someone to understand you can be tiring and useless. Spend your time with people who are ready to listen and have useful talks. It can be upsetting to find out that someone doesn't want to understand you, but keep in mind that you can't change how they see or respond to you. If you know how to read the signs, figure out why things are happening, and use healthy ways to deal with stress, you can handle these kinds of situations with grace and strength. Having ties with people who value kindness and understanding can make your life better in the long run. Number 10. Pay attention to your gut. There are times in everyone's life when they have to make a choice and don't know whether to go forward or backward. That's when the weak voice of insight turns into a guide that points the way, and sometimes it even leads to the light of light. It's hard to see through the darkness of doubt and fear when our thoughts aren't clear. Our feelings and thoughts can swallow us up. The beginning is an important part of being human. It is the link between the mind and the soul, where information and thinking end. When the mind and heart are at odds with each other, this is where understanding lies. Often, we're the only ones who can save us. Fear and doubt can make it hard to hear our inner voice and know what is right and wrong. This makes our intuition cloudy and unsure. It makes you feel like you're missing something. Now might be the time to feel sure that you can trust our soul. Life is too short to waste time trying to change your mind. Separate yourself from people who can't accept or understand you, and value the ties you have with those who do. We did not have a top and were left behind on the path to happiness. This only means that we cannot bear to carry the big things. There is more than one person who can give spiritual understanding. We find ourselves for important things sometimes. It is the voice of freedom that tells us to say it again. Number 11. They don't let others into their world. Sharing is seen as a sign of trust and friendship, while not talking to someone or opening up can show that you are not interested. If someone cares about you, they'll happily tell you about their happiness, sadness, and new finds. This will make you feel like you're a part of their world. But someone who doesn't like you might make a bubble zone, a private area that you're not allowed to enter, where they keep their plans and thoughts secret. Sharing thoughts, experiences, and points of view is important for understanding and building respect in a world where everything is linked. Still, not everyone is okay with letting other people into their lives. By looking into why people act this way, this lesson tries to teach them to understand and accept other points of view. To help people understand and value different points of view, to encourage people to be open-minded and learn how to talk to each other about differences, and to figure out why some people don't like letting other people into their lives, a phenomenon is being studied. In different places and times, people may value sharing and being open in different ways. It's more important in some cultures to keep things private and unique than to tell other people about personal events, norms and standards in society, bad events in the past, and stress can all make people ready or not ready to share their world. When people have been hurt in the past, like when they were misled or judged, they may become guarded as a way to protect themselves. After going through a stressful event, some people may pull away and not talk about their feelings with other people. Fear of being rejected and judged. There are times when people don't say what they're feeling because they're afraid of being misunderstood, judged, or turned down. Because they want to fit in and be liked, some people may hide parts of who they are or what they've been through. The traits and moods of a person. People who are shy might not want to share their feelings and thoughts with others. Some people don't want to share their world because they are shy or have low self-esteem. By listening with purpose, you can help people learn how to listen carefully so they can understand you without judging or cutting you off. It's important to make them feel safe enough to talk about their feelings and thoughts. You can earn trust by being honest, respectful, and accepting. To make people feel safe with you, show that they can trust you and that you will keep things private. Learn to understand how other people feel. To see things from someone else's point of view, put yourself in their shoes. Let them have their own thoughts and feelings, even if they are different from yours. You need to understand, accept, and be open-minded to know why some people don't like to talk about their lives with other people. Culture, past events, and behavior all have an effect on people. Understanding these effects can help make society more open and understanding. We can connect with others more deeply and understand their points of view better if we listen carefully, show that we understand, and let them talk easily. Number 12. Silence that means something. 1,000 words can be said in silence. In human interactions, people often see quiet as a hole that needs to be filled by talking and sharing. But if someone doesn't like you, they won't say anything because they're silent. There is a choice behind it. It is a way to keep you from being safe in a place that shouldn't be shared or opened. This quiet doesn't make you feel less lonely, but it does make you feel like your life is pointless or not important. When there is no sound or speech on purpose, and the lack of sound or speech itself communicates something important, that is meaningful quiet. Being able to talk without words can often say more about how you feel, what you want, and why than just words. Respectful silence is used to show respect for the person or people being remembered or recognized. That being said, silence can also mean other things. It can happen when people are remembering things. People can use silence to give themselves time and space to think about their ideas, feelings, and experiences. When someone stays quiet to really hear and understand what someone else is saying, this is called hearing silence. Being this quiet shows that you understand and are paying attention. While two people are alone and quiet, it can help them connect or understand each other better without words. This is called shared silence. For deep thought, silence can help you think about bigger issues like religion, existence, or life. When people are fighting, a moment of silence can help everyone calm down and think about what they want to say the next time. Being quiet can be a way to be confident, especially if the other person doesn't want to talk or answer questions. It's possible to use silence to make you feel something in art, writing, or music, or to build drama. What someone is trying to say and where they are when they are quiet are the most important things about silence. Don't say a word about it. A lot can be said. 13. They never talk about a future with you. When someone doesn't include you in their plans or hopes for the future, it's a very clear sign that they don't like you. They don't want to connect with you or see you as a friend on the long road ahead if you're not part of their big picture for their life. When someone likes you, they'll tell you about their hopes and dreams and even ask you to join them. Being able to tell when a relationship isn't going the way you want it to is what they never say a future with you is all about. You might want to think about the following. If your partner doesn't want to talk about trips, big events, or even small ones that involve you in the future, it could mean that they don't see you as an important part of their long-term plans. If you ask someone about the future and they skip over the question or change the subject, it could mean they don't want to make plans with you in the future. Not interested in making plans with you. If your partner wants to be with you in the future, they will be happy to talk about your plans, goals, and dreams. It could be a sign if they act like they don't want to talk about these things all the time. One person in a relationship should be able to keep their own identity separate. But if your partner always puts their own plans and goals ahead of yours without thinking about you, it could mean they don't see you as an important part of their future. If your partner avoids, sidesteps, or feels uncomfortable when you try to talk about the future, it could mean that they are not ready or willing to commit to a future with you. It can be hard to tell where the relationship is going if your partner gives you mixed signs, like talking about the future with you and avoiding the subject every so often. Listen to your gut. You may feel like your partner isn't fully committed to a future with you sometimes. Trust your gut and pay attention to these small signs. You'll be able to handle the situation better. This is the end of our list of 13 clear signs that someone might not really like you. Remember that getting to know people and relationships takes time and effort. Everyone who doesn't try to understand you or will do anything to avoid you is telling you that you need to learn more about yourself and how important it is to connect with real people. Being hurt by the thought that someone doesn't value or respect you can be a good thing, but it also gives you a chance to grow and find people who do. As you go through these sometimes painful realizations, keep in mind that the relationships we choose to invest in are what make us happy and fulfilled, not the praise of others. There are only a few people in the world who can truly understand us, see and accept us for who we are, and share the journey of life with us. I need to hear from all of you right now. In a relationship, have any of these signs ever been present? In what ways did you deal with the fact that the other person may not be as interested in you as you thought? What's more, how did that experience change the way you think about partnerships from now on? Please share your stories, thoughts, and maybe even how you've moved on from these kinds of things in the comments section below. Someone with the same issues could learn from what you've been through. Remember that every part of our relationships is important, and every event, no matter how bad, makes our lives more interesting.